Stocks will not be boring today, that is for sure, because we have a little bit bigger range. So we should be seeing some different price action than what we saw yesterday. Obviously, yesterday we went through this a little bit. That's why the video 2 days ago was so short on YouTube, was just because yesterday it really was telling us, hey, we have a chance to stay in a pretty tight range. Therefore, we expected a dud day, and that's exactly what we got. We got sideways price action. That was the most probable thing to happen. Now, you at all times have a 32% probability of something crazy happening with these daily expected moves. Make sure to get these on your chart. This is your 68% zone. 562.89 to the upside, and we do have 554.51 to the downside. But some things we need to pay attention to. This MACD has crossed over, and the other thing I want to pay attention to today is the fact that we have a jobs data revision. Okay, we have the non-farm payrolls annual revision, and remember, jobs data was what really sent the market down in the past. And we have 2 big pieces of data. So this here will be important today. We'll see if this is revised in some way that affects the market. And then we do have the FOMC minutes later on today. So we should have some rip around moves today. We'll find out. Maybe we just have some rip around moves that cause us to consolidate sideways, actually, just in a bigger range. That would be interesting. And then tomorrow, we get another initial jobless claims. We get a few little pieces of data, but whatever, I think by the end of today, whatever standpoint we're going with, whatever direction we're going in, most likely that will continue for Thursday. And then Friday with the Fed Jerome Powell's speech, we could see that shaken up. Okay, so we have some things to pay attention to today, and this is going to be the first thing, which happens about 30 minutes after the open. So here in about 40 minutes, we will get this little sliver of data. So we'll pay attention to what the signals look like at that time. Okay, we'll pay attention to what it looks like pretty much before that time, and then see what the reaction gives us. Are we going to cross down? Are we going to cross up? Are we going to see a rapid 30-minute move like this and then see that pull back down? Just remember, this is our 68% zone. For the Qs, we have a 68% zone here that is just a little bit bigger than yesterday. The SPY is like double, but this is just a little bit bigger, about 30% bigger than yesterday. So that tells us what? This is our 68% zone calculated by the options market. That's probably why a lot of people subscribe to this channel, but because we give this stuff out for free every single day for the SPY and the Qs. Obviously, if you want the other stocks that we do cover on this channel, if you trade things like Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, AMD, Palantir, things like that, we actually give you those on Patreon. You can go in the link in the description. It's only $7 and you get some great data for the weekly expected moves and daily expected moves on Friday. I wish I could make a daily expected move for every stock, but it's just not possible because you don't have expirations every day for every single stock. But these we can, so we need these on our charts. Okay, reading into the actual market, even if you don't trade the Qs, even if you don't trade the SPY, I highly encourage you to start to pay attention to what the SPY and the Qs are doing. It will help you out overall. It is a good point to pay attention to. So having the daily expected moves on your chart would be a good thing to do. 485.45 to the upside, and we do have 475.07 to the downside. So we'll see what happens after the data comes out. But for the most part, we could say we have a 68% chance to land in here, 32% chance to see something crazy. So a little area I'm paying attention to is this little gap here between the weekly and the daily expected move. Usually those little gaps hold as a little zone of resistance. We'll see if those actually hold as resistance, but for now, we're still seeing squeeze behavior. We're seeing the dollar continue to drop off. Even with this little pop in the dollar, you can see how much it has come off, and the market really, the market hasn't gone dramatically higher with that price action, right? It hasn't gone dramatically higher with the dollar even dropping off towards the end of the day like this, okay? So we haven't seen that upside, meaning there could be people still buying into assets. So one thing that you still have to pay attention to throughout your week is going to be, are we seeing a reaction from volatility from the 200? This is an area where volatility can start to spike up. We talked about this over with this big green bar. We said, hey, if we start to turn down though, this could add up to a squeeze. Nvidia is showing some reverse signals. What do? We start to squeeze. We cross over again, confirming more of a squeeze. This crossover here confirmed more of a squeeze and a test of the 50 or the 200. We go down to to the 200. Now we have to see, this is the first point where you need to be like, okay, this is where something bad can happen. We get some news this week, especially with this revision. I think that's going to be very important. So this right here is where we need to pay attention. Now, if we start to close below the 200, then it is more likely, it is more probable to head down towards 1212 and see more of a squeeze. You can kind of see this in the past. Here's the squeeze. There's a little reaction off of the 200 in the past. If you go look on our YouTube channel, this is where we said now the squeeze can continue. And you see how we end up going towards 1212. Now, in the past, this was a little bit higher. The 200, when it did cross, was up towards 1478. So volatility now, this 200 is down towards like 1430 if I try to take the middle of it there. 1430, so a little bit lower. So that tells me maybe this squeeze won't be as good as this one over here. So we'll pay attention to that. But for the most part, we need to pay attention to what is important right now. And the important thing right now is, are we going to see volatility come back in? Are we going to see some kind of pullback? Are we going to see consolidation? How we can look into this is just by looking at a 4-hour. We can see if that's able to curl back down. If that curls back down, what we can see here is, do we get a decent reaction and then that starts to fade over time and then we end up down towards 1212 and we have a signal to pay attention to, right? Some kind of divergence down at this level would make sense, but volatility on the 4-hour has not really gotten oversold. So even a divergence down there doesn't have to really prove much, but if that does create the divergence and go positive, we will notify you about that. So pay attention to what's going on. It can really affect yields and things like that. It can affect the dollar. Pretty much the market is going with the dollar goes down, the market goes up. So it's starting to come into that negative correlation, which is pretty much the normal correlation for the dollar to the market at this point. And so what we want to see as that correlation starts, remember, we've been kind of positively correlated with the market at times, and then we see that things ripped away. Positively correlated, we ripped away. So now it's starting to act like, hey, the dollar is going down and stocks are going up. That's a negative correlation. That's how it should behave. So if we see the dollar turn up, then we would expect that correlation to remain the same as of right now. We'll see if it's different, but for now, we should expect it to stay the same until we see something different. And so that would tell me if the dollar is able to spike here, that might not be a great thing for stocks. And if we just look down here, we see the 4-hour giving us some divergence down here. It had a little divergence down here. That didn't play out, but now it's making another one, and we can still see if that gets us into positive territory. You're just a little bit closer than down here to going positive. So this is where you really want to pay attention. Today we get some data right away in the morning here in about 36 minutes. So we have to pay attention to it. But for the most part, we just want to see, are things rolling up? Are things rolling down? Are we consolidating? Those things will really help us out. Now, looking at a 2-hour chart, we can see that crossed over. So most likely we are going to move sideways or pull back in the coming days. We'll find out. But for the most part, you would say a pullback from here would be nice. Notice we're not talking about a crash. We're not talking about the crashes, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. Okay, it doesn't mean it's impossible. You need to still treat these crossovers like it could be bad because volatility is above its 200. So this crossover could be worse than we expect. But I kind of created a zone for you, okay? If we're going to dip lower, I think this zone down here will become important. I know it's a pretty big zone. I really like this gap fill, but I would be stupid not to understand that this was a key breakdown area that we took back very aggressively. So anywhere in this zone, I think we could see the 2-hour go down to if we see something more dramatic and just curl right back up. And that look would be pretty good, right? We came up to an important point right before the all-time high. We saw the consolidation right here. We see the high come in here. Well, we go just above that, but if we're able to curl down, this could be some kind of form of consolidation to head up over time. I don't want to say it's a certain pattern. I just want to pay attention to, hey, is it going to go grab liquidity in here? Is it going to go grab liquidity in our zone? Is it going to go a little bit deeper, fake people out, and then have grabbed liquidity here, grab liquidity here, grab liquidity here, and then turn right back around? That's what I would be paying attention to as we get some data, but that's just it. We have to react to the data. We don't know what this data is going to say. Most of the time with the jobs data, we have been seeing major revisions down. So we'll see if that is going to happen, but we'll find out. Okay, retail sales gets revised down. Non-farm payrolls gets revised down. A lot of these things are getting revised a lot. And that is something very worrisome because it means not only is the data causing market reactions, but it's also just completely incorrect. So that's why I don't really like data. I think that they should wait until the revision then to give out the data so we don't see these crazy reactions, because it affects a lot of people's lives, right? The Jerome Powell's going to come out and say, he's going to come out and say during a speech this week that we know that our policies affect communities and people and work and all this, we affect whatever. He always says the same line. We know that our decisions affect communities and American people and blah, blah, blah. If they know that, really, it's like you can say something, that's great, but your actions say more. So the way that we treat data, the way that we treat these things, is it really looking out for you in the community? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that these things are more so a way for them to manipulate the market, actually. I think it allows more manipulation in the market for squeezes like this one. Good thing that we know how to find these type of bottoms. And did we use the SPY to find that bottom? No, we didn't. We did not. We actually used things like NVIDIA. NVIDIA giving a great signal here. We know it holds a big amount of weight and boom, heads to the upside. So this is actually helpful. It's helpful to look at multiple stocks, even if you're trading just the SPY, just the Qs. It is still very helpful to look at individual stocks, especially ones that hold a big weight in the market. So things like NVIDIA, things like Apple, things like, I don't know, whatever you want to look at, really. NVIDIA, Apple, maybe Microsoft, right? Microsoft giving some stuff down here. Google, you can look at things like that. That had a big divergence down here. It actually had a massive 2-hour divergence just now, starting to curl back down, right? So you got to pay attention to it. But these things hold weight. Netflix giving the swing trade signal, right? There's a lot that we could pay attention to that said, hey, these things are looking like they could have a big bounce, even though the market looks like what? It doesn't look the best. Right? It didn't look like the best reversal signal here. So we had to use other stocks. We had to use other individual stocks to really find out what is going on with that. So market's about to open in about 2 minutes. Good luck. Good morning. Hopefully you got some coffee ready. If you wanted to know, yesterday, it's my birthday week. So tomorrow is my birthday. And so for my birthday yesterday, I went out and shot my rifle for the first time. I've been dry firing it all the time, wanting to take it out there. And man, do I need to practice. I mean, everything's on target, but man, I am everywhere when I pull that trigger too fast. So I got to work on my recoil management. But it was a lot of fun. I had a good time with it. One of my mags is kind of the mag that came with the gun is not very good. It kind of was like not feeding the next round, which kind of sucks. But I put in, thankfully I bought a couple extra spares, and those are phenomenal. So that's the only problem I ran into. But we'll have to show you guys those sometime. But thank you so much for the happy birthday wishes. Something that I've really gotten into lately is just shooting. I really like it. I think it's a lot of fun. I've been practicing a ton. So that's pretty much all I want to do for my birthday. That's all the gifts I got. So maybe on my birthday tomorrow, we'll flip that camera back on, see if the internet's working a little bit better, and see if we can show you guys all my birthday gifts. I can show you guys all my setup for my birthday gifts. Maybe you guys can help me set up my kit and things like that if you guys have been, maybe there's some shooters out there. So, but for now, we'll get into that maybe tomorrow. For now, we got to look into what's happening as we open up. We see that the 2 hours like this, now 2 hour can be boring to look at, so we'll flip back to it, but the 30-minute is what I want to look at because this moves sideways for some time. Look how close we are to the center line. We're getting really, really close to there. Now, you may have noticed something very clear here, and you might have noticed it in the futures market as well. You can see it here on your chart. Now, it's not on the RSI at the same time. Now, let's go over to the SPX 500, right? We'll go into this for a second here, and you'll notice it right here. This is where looking at futures can really help you. People say, oh, you don't pay attention to futures, you don't trade the futures. I do, because the 2 hour signal is what I pay attention to, and it looks a lot like a 30-minute. That is something that I just figured out. And so I share that with you guys. If you want to look at price action after hours and things like that, it's perfectly fine to do that, and just understand that the 2 hour here can really roll down 4 hour charts. Okay, we see that 4 hour starting to really roll down here. So that's something to pay attention to. And if we look here, there's even a small divergence on the 4 hour. So you see it more clearly when you add that data. And now you're looking at this going, uh-oh, what could happen from here on out? We'll see if this is able to curl back up, then we might have another little move higher. Maybe we reach a daily expected move. I have not updated these for the SPX 500 just yet. But that's just a key thing you can look at. It kind of clears it up just a tiny, tiny bit. There is weakness in momentum at this level. It just tells me move sideways or maybe a pullback is coming, and that's what I'd see. BB, BlackBerry for the 30-day swing. What I'd look for here especially is you see these two lows. So one thing that I like to do is when I see two lows like this on a 2-hour, very spread out, I want to see if there is some kind of daily divergence because they are very spread out. So I'm going to look on the daily here, and what am I going to notice? Oh, there is a divergence. Okay, so BlackBerry does have the divergence. It has confirmed all of the signals with this bar, right? It's confirmed on the RSI. It's confirmed on the MACD. Yeah, it's a you know, kind of up there, but it has confirmed on the MACD, and it has a divergence behind it, right? We can see it on the RSI and the MACD, kind of flat on the RSI. So you got to take that into consideration. It just means I might need to pay attention in case it needs to pull back one more time, maybe before earnings or something like that. But you do have a daily divergence. Okay, so that is what I'd really be paying attention to. And if you wanted to take some kind of move here, hey, it would make sense. We just need to manage the trade. What does that mean? Manage the trade early on a lot of the time. That's more what this means. And then you more use those 2-hour curlovers to take some profit on the way up, right? That's what you want to do more of the time. And that's something that I might need to make a little bit more clear in the course down in the description. It's only $100 to get the technical indicators course where we talk about these type of things, right? This type of setup. You can find these type of moves. You can find that NVIDIA play that was fantastic. So for the most part though, right here is early on in the trade. So even if you wanted to take it right now, hey, okay, you're making your decisions, that's fine. A little bit late to the move because what is happening right now on the 2-hour? Well, it's reaching a point of where there's a bunch of, I would say sellers could be lurking, right? So if we wanted to make the structure to head lower, well, we might see another reaction up like this, dip further down, and guess what? You'd have a left head and a right shoulder. Maybe this needs to get a little bit tighter, right? Maybe this needs to get tighter like this. So I want to pay attention to one thing here. The 2-hour is crossing over. That would tell me, even if I was in the play early, hey, I might want to think about managing the trade, or at least paying attention to managing the trade in the next 2 hours. If we see some kind of bar like this, I want to go, okay, most likely we move sideways or pull back, which can really hurt my options trade either way. So if that does pull back or pull back with time, move sideways and then curl back up, that would be more of the opportunity for me at this point because I'm not exactly in at the best price, right? The best price was probably around 236. Doesn't mean I can't get into it. I just have to be aware if this crosses over. Maybe I would take a stab at it, and then if it curls down, I could manage that trade really quickly, and then if it curls back up, I can go, okay, now I have a better position. That would cause me to take a little bit of a loss, so maybe I would want to extend out that expiration so time doesn't hurt me too much. But as of right now, you are not even crossing over. So really, that's what I would pay attention to. Hopefully, that is helpful. John, is this kind of what you're looking at? That's what I see. I see a divergence here for BlackBerry. That's what I see. I see a daily divergence, and now I need to manage that because I didn't really have 2-hour divergence behind it, right? I didn't really have that. I did have a 30-minute. You can look into a 30-minute and see these two lows, and this was, I would say, one of the perfect buys right here, right in this area when this went positive or just crossed up, and you see that start to head up. Okay, awesome. But you know at that point, you're pretty much trading a 2-hour trade. If that 2-hour was able to cross, you can feel pretty confident with it at that point. Okay, it did. Now this could have got ugly, but that created that divergence point. So up in here, you might have reapplied, and then boom, you have a great position going into this. You're perfectly fine taking maybe a little bit of profit if this would roll down, and then if it rolls back up, you could reapply the position. That's how I like to do it. Thought you were calling me out or something. Yeah, I was like, John Baker. We always talked about maybe creating the live stream supporters thing, and we do roll call or something like that. That'd be funny. Okay, good, John. I'm glad that you're kind of getting that. I think that's cool. AMC, one thing to pay attention to for today for these little memers out there, which aren't really meme stocks anymore, right? They're actually doing very well as companies. Honestly, they actually are doing great things. is the 2 hour crossing up. I think this 2 hour crossing up would be a big deal. So this 2 hour crossing up, why is it a big deal? Because the daily is so close to crossing right here, and it's right by the center line. I really think even if you're paying attention to GME more than AMC, that's fine. You can use, kind of like how we said, we used NVIDIA to see what the SPY and the Qs were going to do over time. Now we're going to maybe look at AMC to see what GME is going to do over time. So if AMC is able to curl up into positive territory, well, we could be seeing a pretty big move soon, genuinely, because look at these Bollinger Bands still getting tighter even into today. If that 2 hour can cross up, you might see enough steam behind it to cross up this daily MACD as all the moving averages are kind of cutting across the 200. So big signals going on here. If you get some positivity here, you can start to break through. So this is a time to pay close attention. Can we check on Google? Yeah, Google is starting to roll over. Now that was one that was lagging behind. So the daily did cross up. You notice right here, we see that positivity. What do you want to see here? Is it experiencing a 2 hour pullback? Right, so the 2 hour is starting to pull down. So something you can watch in the meantime, if that 2 hour is going to pull down, it didn't really get too overbought for quite some time, just like everything else. Everything else got overbought for a little bit of time. Google has not yet. So this may have some steam left in it that we don't really see in front of us yet. And that's just because I think it has steam in it because one, you got a divergence here. Two, you got a very steep divergence right here. So what I'd be looking at is, does the 2 hour actually cross down? That would be bad. But if that 2 hour is not going to cross down, if it's not going to be able to, what is going to happen? Well, this 30-minute is going to be able to cross back up pretty quickly. So pretty much you're looking for this 30-minute to curl back up over the next 4 hours. And if that doesn't and it keeps leaking down, you need to check that 2 hour and say, uh-oh, that could be very bad. Right? This is kind of one of the early on management of the trade opportunities. And this is something that sometimes I will do this. This is kind of what I did with Tesla, right? Tesla broke out of a key area. I think it did this, right? Something like this look. And then Tesla turned down, right? When it rolled down, I took profit. And then I said, okay, if that 30-minute rolls back up after the retest, I'm going to take that again. And I did, and everything's fantastic for Tesla. So it looks like Google could be experiencing something like that. You just want to pay attention. If it's a little deeper as we get data today, then you would want to see if that 2 hours rolling over, then there's no reason for upside until that turns right back up. Not really. I don't really pay attention to moving averages curling up. I treat it like a cool, that's a positive thing, but is it a reason for me to take a trade? It's a reason for me to feel a little bit more confident in a trade maybe, but is it a reason for me to just be like, oh, these crossed right here, so therefore I buy something? No, not necessarily. A lot of the time you'll notice when that cross happens, you'll see a pullback. Right, because the moving averages only move up if the price action moves up. And this is a pretty steep move up here for the 30-minute chart. So you'll notice that as we get up there and this crosses, what do we get? We get slightly overbought. And thank you so much, Short Fridays, for the $2. VKTX when you have time. Yeah, we'll take a look over at that in a moment. So yeah, that's what I'd pay attention to. It doesn't mean there's a golden cross, the stock has to go crazy high. Sometimes that happens on a daily scale, but a lot of the time, even on the daily scale, when you do get that cross, it tells you need to pull back, maybe retest a moving average before you head higher. That's what I would overall look into. It's not necessarily a reason to take a trade. It is a reason to feel a little bit more confident that your price action can continue in the direction of your trade. I haven't looked at it this morning. Let me look at this for Short Fridays as he donated so I could look at it. So we got to look at this first, right? Viking Therapeutics. Okay, let's look at this one. What you notice from the 30-minute was able to cross up. This is pretty simple, right? A lot of people would ask me, right here. This is usually when a lot of people ask me about a stock. Way up here after the big move. This is usually when people have me look at something and I can tell pretty much, not trying to offend anyone, but a lot of the time it's people who have not taken the course yet who are asking me questions about this type of thing, or they just want me to look at it because it's cool, which you guys know me. I like cool stuff. I like when things make big moves and I like to look at them. But you'll hear me say a very similar thing every time. Wait for that 30-minute to cross down, 15-minute, 30-minute, anything like that. When you see a massive move, you want to see if there's going to be more positivity. right? So you maybe missed out on the 30-minute curl up here for the swing. Okay, missed out on this. So how can I benefit from this? I can benefit here by being a good trader, waiting for that to pull down on a 30-minute or a 15-minute and just seeing that cross back up as long as it's still positive. As we look at a 15, you'll look at this. It's still positive. So that is a great sign. And that tells me what? There can be more positivity in the move. Boom, right there. So right there it said, hey, more upside is possible. Now what are you creating? If we would roll over, you would have a point of divergence here. That would be on the 30-minute chart as well. So you guys know I like my 30-minute divergences the most. You see it down here on the RSI, you see it on the MACD. So am I thinking about maybe taking profit at this point for a bigger pullback? Well, let me see the 2 hour. Does the 2 hour look like it needs a pullback? That can convince me. Okay, 2 hours way up here. So a 2 hour pullback would make sense. And what is the pattern that I can look for if there is going to be more upside? Well, we reacted all the way up to this level. Maybe we get some kind of handle, maybe even retesting this key level right into here. We kind of see this box right in here. That's pretty important. So 2 hour curls down, gets to that area and then curls back up. But what I can pay attention to as well, just in case this moves more flagging like this, stays kind of tight, right? And then curls up, I can just see if this 2 hour crosses down and if it crosses right back up. That's all I can pay attention to. And then I could say, okay, there is a continued positive move. And then I can also be like, okay, let me just check the daily. Okay, so now I know if there is going to be more than a pullback, most likely I will see that daily crossover. If I don't see that daily crossover, then I can be confident with this trade going forward if that 2 hour rolls up. Because if it experiences just a few days of negativity, that can get you down towards this center line. And then you see that 2 hour curl back up and you have plenty of room for upside here. Hopefully that was very, very helpful. Yeah, it looks like cup and handle. Yeah, William. It looks like cup and handle is what you could form at this area. Right? So the actual curl up though was the swing trades, right? The swing trades here, for the most part, this one was rough, but it looks like you're just continuing to build structure down here. Now looks like the breakout moment. Now you have structure to head higher if it can hold on that 2 hour. UVIX and SPY both rising? Weird, huh? Some people hedging most likely before that event. Because volatility moves when people do, it's like the puts and calls that are 30 days out, right? So most of the time you'll see that could be a hedging moment as well. But I'm glad. I mean, I think that would be very good for some people out there for their hedge. It would be good for my hedge as well. And then what was the other one? Cass said wanted to look at Siri this morning. Let's go take a peek over at Siri as it has seen a massive move. So what do we always do with these massive moves? It does mean something that you crossed up above here and we said, hey, you have two of those signals right now. I believe we said that yesterday. And so you're looking for that third one, which means that positivity can extend. But you notice right as we get towards this area here, what are we noticing? Well, a wick coming in. So what could I pay attention to? Let's say I missed out on this move. I want to take a daily curl up, but I see a big gap, so I'm nervous about it. What could I do? I could look into a 30-minute chart. Look at the 30-minute. It is way, way up there. So all I need from the 30-minute at this point is, ooh, it came all the way up to this area. Maybe I get a small 30-minute handle and then I see that positivity. And then I know that I'm pretty much doing a daily swing trade. I'm just doing this using that pretty much the $100 technical indicators course. That's why it's good to take both. It's good to know the entries for a swing trade, but it's good to know how to get a better position by taking the second, or technically the first course I put out, which is the technical indicators course that shows you weekly ranges. That's something as well. You don't know. Maybe the weekly range for Siri is right here. And that needs to pull back for the rest of the week. And then next week it can get a new range and see a big move again, right? That's what we more want to look for throughout our weeks. Buffett bought Siri again. Is that kind of what's going on here? Nice. Well, that's good. Tesla, as far as Tesla goes, we can look into this and say, hey, what do we need to pay attention to first off? Well, a shorter time frame, right? This could be a small consolidation as we hit that breakdown area. We see the obvious breakdown area. You could really tell this little zone right here, very important. And we break through that, what happens? Oh, bad things. So if we're going to continue to use this as important, maybe we build liquidity in this zone and then see that pop up. That would create that structure still. But if we wanted to get up to here and then retest, that would make sense as well. So what am I paying attention to overall? 30-minute curls up, good things can happen. But the 2 hour here looks like it might be running out of steam. It might need a bigger pullback. So and you have to know volatility is testing as 200. So you have to say if a 2 hour rolls over here, it might be kind of ugly, right? And then you know this, but if that volatility starts to subside and this 30-minute crosses up, I could see a move up towards like 234. That's more what I would be doing, is kind of looking at both sides and paying attention to the volatility, paying attention to things can get ugly, but also saying this is a very bullish move. So I want to pay attention to if those things start to subside, if things start to curl back up. And thank you guys so much for liking this morning. Really do appreciate it. DJT, if we want to look at that for a second, John. DJT finally getting a spike here. Now this is important because if you look at the daily scale, if this thing can start to really gain some steam here, this is a point to pay attention because you have a massive divergence down here, a big divergence. It's a little bit far away from the center line. You do have potential to maybe do something like, oh, double bottom, something like that. But you do have this daily divergence. If that confirms, that would be great. Let me see now what I can do before this thing even crosses. You know, I'm not going to sit and wait for this to cross. That would make my day pretty boring, right? That would mean I might have to wait until tomorrow. So what I want to do is see if I see any signals that can confirm this right now. That can say it has a good probability of confirming by looking at maybe a 2 hour chart. What am I noticing here on the 2 hour chart? Well, I do have little divergences on the MACD, but not on the RSI at the same time. So that tells me, what if this sees some kind of run and then curls right back down and gives me maybe a divergence point up here, right? That's more what I'm looking for at this moment, to do it early. Now, the key thing with this is, am I going to wait for this? No, if the daily side gives me that signal without a divergence, divergences don't always have to pop up, right? If the daily scale starts to just curl up saying, hey, I could see some upside and I have divergence, I'm going to say, okay, let me take that and then manage the trade from there on, right? If I don't get a 2 hour divergence here, I don't want to miss out on the play if this crosses up. If this crosses up, you can probably see positivity to top Bollinger, probably to the 200 at this point. It's been beat up for a long time, so that could see some kind of bounce back. I would say at least into this little zone, this little breakdown area right here, something around this $28 to $29. And then gold futures. I always forget what the gold futures ticker is, so I have to type gold futures. GC, God, how do I forget that every time? Gold futures, the key thing to pay attention to with gold futures is this. Are we seeing a 4 hour divergence on the dollar? Yes, a lot of the time, most of the time I would say, when gold goes down, the dollar goes up. When gold goes up, the dollar goes down. That means what? That means it is a negative correlation pretty much at this point. So we could say that that makes sense right now because what's happening? Gold has gone up, the dollar has gone down, and it's continued to go down, right? So we want to see, does this have a similar signal to the dollar right now? 4 hour. Does it have a similar signal to the dollar right now? I would say yes. It has actually a triple divergence here for gold, which tells me something bad can really start to happen here if gold goes negative. That's a key thing. This is saying gold has a good opportunity to curl down on the daily scale and to reverse the trend around. So the daily scale is what I'm watching now as well, looking for the 4 hour. That already confirmed. If I wanted to take a play here, okay, cool. Now I need to manage that maybe by seeing if a 2 hour can curl back up, right? If the 2 hour curls back up, that's not going to be good for my puts, right? That's not going to be good for my puts, so I have to pay attention to it. Maybe I'm not wrong. Maybe I'm just wrong for a moment here, and this needed a little lower high, right? Maybe I'm just wrong for a moment. Timing is everything. Scaling in, that's why I like to scale into positions a lot of the time, because I'll take that first point where I need to pay attention, then I'll see that curl back up, and if it doesn't look like, hey, it has much room to it, or I'm pretty confident that it's going to not go all the way up like this because I'm seeing the reverse signal from the dollar right now, maybe my timing is just off. I can scale in a little here and still have plenty of time in my options contract for that daily 2 crossover. So that's what I'm paying attention to. I think gold and the dollar, both 4 hour here, you see almost a triple divergence there. And then on the dollar, we see a divergence down here for the dollar at the same time. So we just want to pay attention, make sure these things are rolling back up. Volatility is seeing somewhat of a pop at this moment. The 4 hour has curled up. The daily scale is what you really need to turn up in order to see, I would say, a crash scenario. So what you're kind of looking for from volatility, if you want to see this market remain positive, is maybe it sees a reaction, it sees that pullback for a few days, but this isn't able to cross. That's kind of what I'm looking for, like 2 days of selling, and then it just curls back down on a 4 hour. That's what I'd be looking for from volatility at this point. But if this crosses up, I got to say, uh-oh, the last time we crossed up, where were we? We were down here. Now we're way up here, and you're going to cross up into positive territory. This move can be bigger than this one. This move can go set up maybe a divergence point. This move can maybe set up even a lower high. You have to pay attention to that as well. We can look at the signals in this too, but for the most part, we just want to see, is this actually going to curl up, or is it going to look like it's going to curl up and then start to just go right back down? Might just sit out today. Hey, that's perfectly fine. You know, do it you're comfortable with. As we see, the PCC has opened up at 0.90, so a lot of people getting some, well, not really a lot. That's not necessarily something that's like massive, but I would say people a little bit towards the put side, because normally the normal area, that's actually it. We'll say that. This is pretty much the normal area for your relationship between puts and calls, your ratio between puts and calls. This is a pretty normal area here between 0.8 and 0.95. So you're kind of in a normal area. We got to see if people get overexcited in one direction. That would be more telling. At this moment, we see the SPY. What are we paying attention to? The 30-minute chart. Is that 30-minute able to cross up this morning? That's going to be a big deal. And something that can hold that. You notice that you think that they don't like time these data releases out to a T. No, they want to give people time to get faked out maybe in the morning, or give people time to get faked out in the morning. And then they want to see, okay, right before this 30-minute crosses up, we're going to see some data come out. Isn't it interesting that that always seems to happen, right? So this is something interesting to me. We'll see if that can see a good move, right? We're gravitating towards a weekly move. They do act like magnets a lot of the time. So even if that data is bad, we could see this shoot up, convince people to get calls, and then turn right back down. So that's something I'll be paying attention to today towards that daily and weekly expected move. Dollar starting to see just a little bit of green, as the market is green. So right now, if we go heavy towards the call side right before this data, that would be something to pay attention to. It means there is potential for some kind of rug pull by the end of the day if that continues. If we continue to head up while the dollar heads up, right? Right now they're negatively correlated. That's starting to go away a little bit, right? The dollar is now positive while the market's positive. That's not what we've seen over the last few days. Data drops at 10 a.m. is going, well, I guess 9 a.m. for me, but it's going to be the non-farm payrolls annual revision. So we're getting the jobs data that really sent the market down. We're going to get some jobs data here that could maybe change people's sentiment or continue that bad sentiment. So we'll see. But wouldn't it be interesting to see a 2-day big pullback and then Jerome Powell talks, right? Wednesday, Thursday, we pull back. And then Friday, we get Jerome Powell to talk and everything's getting dandy and perfect again, because Jerome Powell said that, you know, we understand that we affect communities and all these people, and jobs are actually pretty good. Everything's good while you're suffering at home. That's really nice, isn't it? Not to hate on the guy, obviously. Don't know him personally, but you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of Jerome Powell and how they do things, but that's just the Fed in general. You know, a lot of the time I think his hands are tied. So yeah, we'll look at that data here in about 6 minutes. Thank you guys for joining today. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing. You guys are fantastic. Hopefully short Fridays, hopefully that was pretty helpful. I just looked at your donation again. I just want to make sure that that was pretty helpful for you. Calls are looking pretty juicy for the volatility play. Awesome. Awesome. We like to hear that. I think that if Kamala gets into office, then one thing is for sure. Traders who are like us, who make good money in the market, okay, those people are going to be squeezed out of the market. That's what I truly believe. I think that those people will be squeezed out of the market. The really rich people will find a loophole. They will be able to start their own charity, like, you know, a lot of politicians start their own charity and just use it for money laundering. It's very obvious. But I think that a lot of people would start to do moves like that if that came out. And the people that they're trying to target, this is why you don't necessarily want lawyers in charge of making things when they're trying to do almost business-like moves. They don't understand that a business person will always try to find the best version, the best way to make profit, right? The best way to lessen their expenses. If you treat the big capital gains tax as an expense, well, what are they going to do? They're going to make other money moves to make it so those aren't as big, right? They're going to do things that make it so they can cut down on those taxes. That's what's going to most likely happen. So the only people it will affect are people who can't, go into a bunch of debt of homes and then rent them out and use those as liability and say I'm in a bunch of debt, right? Those type of people will be squeezed out of the market. Honestly, people like me could be squeezed out of the market if that would happen. That's my thought. What are your guys? Actually, yeah, maybe someone has a different take on it. I'm more than happy to learn about what you guys think would happen with that. But I think that's mainly what would happen is the rich people would still be able to play because they can make money moves that people even like myself can't do yet. I'd love to hear someone else's take, though. I agree. They're taking power away from the retail traders. Yeah, pretty much at all times. You need to understand that what they say is the opposite. And that's, I think, why people like Trump, is just because we've actually seen beneficial things from when he was in office. None of our rights got taken away. Nothing bad really happened. We had a peaceful time, blah, blah, blah. This isn't me tooting my horn for it. That's just what happened. And then at the same time, we know that everything that they tell us, like I'll give you this as an example. I'll tell you my community right now. I'll give you an example. Everyone always says in politics, we need to protect our children. Our children are the most important thing, correct? And this is just going to be a tangent as we see some positive price action right before we get this data. We got 3 minutes here, so just let me talk. Here we go. My community now took all the parking. So what happened was small businesses went into our downtown area and really developed the area, gave great places to eat, great places to drink, some fun things to do, some great coffee shops. That's what's really happened here over the last 10 years. The government always here said that they were going to try to do those things, but they're not. They never have. So now that small business owners have really developed the community downtown, what are they doing? Well, they're now making it so parking downtown isn't free, right? And a lot of communities do have paid parking. Like my wife, obviously, she lived in New York, and there is paid parking and things like that, right? But the thing is, our community is not massive. You're not trying to do paid parking to pull back on the demand. They're just realizing, oh, the demand is kind of high, so now we're going to charge for it. They did not do anything to develop the community. So they're looking for a money grab. Now, what are they having to do now that they've bought all those parking garages with inflation where it's at and all those things? What are they actually having to do? Remember, I talked about kids at the beginning of this statement. What happened? Well, now because they bought all those parking garages at the peak of inflation, they're going to take away parking spots so that they can cause demand to go even higher, so they can charge more money for people to park downtown. And then they're also having to, because they bought those locations at peak inflation, they're having to take away a lot of parks, a lot of community pools that children get to benefit from. So my statement overall is we always can hear people's words, but their actions tell you what they really mean. Their actions tell you their true intentions. So do they actually care about children? Well, all we have to do is say, if you care about children and children have a lot of fun at community pools and get to see their friends and they get to go to the park, they get to go on the swings, and you take that away, is that good for children? Is less parking and the government getting more money good for children? No. That's what you need to understand. You need to start to pay attention to what people do, not what people say. Okay? That's just a little example, and I think that's going to go on a lot throughout our politics these days. 80% on your unrealized gain in March and don't sell your position, but then in July you are now down 50% in those same positions, then you just paid taxes quarterly on profits you don't. Interesting. By the way, went rockets 2 minutes ago. What did? Wait, is BTW a stock ticker? Now, someone did mention something I wanted to look at a second ago. Who mentioned it? There was a stock that someone was wanting me to look at, I thought. I like a lot about Trump, but the lockdowns did start under Trump, plus the debt skyrocketed under Trump. Too much big government. Yeah, big government in general, and that's why I think you need to cut down on it. But I just think if you want a chance of that happening, just the policies alone are telling you that it 100% will not happen with the current administration continuing, is what I would say. It's not. Make your own decisions. You guys do your research, do what's best for you and your family. You make your decisions, but that's just what I have to say about all of it. I'd like to actually see people do things that are good for children if they care about children. It seems the opposite a lot of the time. Mara shooting up, Bitcoin shooting up. All right, let's go take a look over at Bitcoin. We see a little shoot up here, but are we still within the flagging? Yes. So I don't like 30-minute charts. I like 2 hours to start for things like Bitcoin, and that is starting to curl up. So if that is able to see a strong bar here in about 2 hours, that could be a sign we're going to break through. Remember the structure, 2-head higher here that we've talked about. Left head, right shoulder. When we get up to this level, right? When we get up to this trend line, we could carve out that right shoulder. So now you got to pay attention. If this curls up, good things. If it curls down, probably bad things. I'm a realtor. And the one thing I would say about lockdowns and things like that is they did start under Trump. But that was when things were very still unknown. That is when we still didn't know how much this would really affect people, how much we didn't know how much the actual thing that was going on making people sick, because I have to talk weird on this channel. That's when that was going on. But would they have continued? They continued for quite some time for weird reasons. And the other thing, the lockdowns weren't even the worst part. It was the money pumping that was supposed to stop in 2021, but instead it was continued by the administration. That's where things really started to explode. They have come out, and I did take a peek over at them. Previous was 137.7. Oh, I'm sorry. I need a refresh. I was reading the wrong piece of data. Dang it. I haven't seen them come out yet, actually. If you guys are getting the numbers, please let me know. Usually this one's pretty quick. I've used this economic calendar for a long time. I'm not seeing that at this moment, so I know it says 9 a.m. on mine, but just know I'm the Midwest, so. It was 2 weeks to slow the spread. Oh, yeah, maybe my memory is off. Maybe I need to go back and look at it, Banana Sam. I do remember that, though. Yeah, I do remember that statement. Thank you for bringing that up. I'll have to read into it. Like I said, I'm not someone who just like believes something and goes with it the whole time. Like I will continue to learn about it until I feel like I have a good hang on it. So something like that I wasn't really paying too close attention to when it came down to the timing of lockdowns. So thank you for telling me I'm wrong. I appreciate it, and I will look into it. Just took away the webcam just because, one, it was kind of messing. I don't know why, but lately our internet has been not as good as when we first started it. I don't know if they're throttling me or something like that, but so I just take it away so the computer works well, so the internet works well, so you guys can. I was disconnecting from chat a lot. And then the other reason is over the last week, I have my my barber is coming back to, and this is just a funny reason, but my barber had her kid and not long ago, and she finally is coming back. So I said, like, when I made my appointment 2.5 weeks ago, I was like, I'm going to grow all my hair out as much as possible before that haircut. So I might do a camera tomorrow for my birthday and show you guys. I got a bushy little beard going on. I've been growing it out for 2.5 weeks, but just kind of like, I think that'd be funny. And then we'll probably bring the cam back soon. Make sure everything's functioning well. $50, bunch of Firehouse subs, hooks and ladders. I'm down with that. Holy crap, wait, $50. Short Fridays. Thank you so much for the $50. Can we get some claps in the chat for Short Fridays? Really appreciate it. Bunch of Firehouse subs. God dang it, I gotta go to Firehouse subs now. I'm gonna go to Firehouse subs and like, maybe I'll buy a Firehouse subs and like eat it on my YouTube video. Take a bite of it for Short Fridays. Thank you so much. Thank you for hitting that like button. Everyone like for Short Fridays. Thank you so much for giving back to our community here. Glad to see it's always growing. Sometimes we get a little bit into politics, but for the most part, just know my expertise is not in politics in any way. right? I have my own opinions just like everyone else. My skill set is within the stock market, just so we're aware. Allison, thank you so much for joining. Hey, you just came in for Short Friday's $50 donation. Thank you so much, Short Fridays. Hopefully that stays up there for a long time. You deserve it. Can we like this thing? Can we like that donation? Yeah, you can. Good morning, Nyson. How you doing this morning? Let's see if that data has released yet. I still haven't seen it. I've got nothing. Let me go check if someone else has that data for us. Let's see here, non-farm payrolls. Not seeing any updates on non-farm payrolls just yet. Weird. If you get that piece of data, make sure to share it with the chat, okay, guys? Bought the swing trading course just now. Awesome, Nyson. Awesome. Hopefully you're going to enjoy that. I think that you will see it will make things very clear for entries and things like that. Okay, it hasn't come out yet. Okay, Robert, thank you. Mara rockets along with Bitcoin. Yes, and Mara was something that gave you great signals down here. You see the 2-hour divergence now. It's elongating for quite some time. So we'll see what happens with this. If that 2-hour curls down, bad things. But I believe this is enough. The daily scale has turned up. So if this can remain, then Mara is saying what? Well, Nyson's about to take the swing trading course, so a lot of these swing trade signals are confirming here. One thing to notice is we are still below that 200. You always got to watch out for that, but if you can take that back, hey, that could be some good positive move coming forward. So that's something to pay attention to. This is one I would pay attention. It's kind of lagging behind, and Bitcoin finally starting to curl up on that 2-hour, so we can see some positive things. Postponed? Oh my God, we postponed it? Gosh. Was it really postponed? Seriously? No freaking way. Everyone's kind of just asking, where the hell is it? God, that's so lame. Aligned with the Fed minutes. Oh God, now it's going to make that even more confusing. We will be coming back on the live video later today, so make sure you're subscribed. And we're still going live for a little bit of time this morning, right? We still got at least an hour and a half left in this stream, guys. So we don't want to fuck with good morning on the spot. Yeah, like we want people to get, or it could be, hey, the PCC, there's too many calls in it, right? Stuff like that can be why they postpone it. They say they don't pay attention to the market at all. I think that might be a little bit of a fib, but we'll see. Right now seems like more still sideways. Remember, creating that range. I think we'll create a little range maybe if we're going to move sideways, or we'll just see this start to really pull back and turn back up, right? Some kind of fake out move would be interesting. Yeah, bad news. That could get watered down. Home builders exploding right now. Let's look at your nail play. Let's see if that thing's paying off. Boom! Look at that thing. Daily crossing up right now for home builders. That's a big deal. And then I kind of like to make sure that it's matching on the housing sector. You see the housing sector lagging behind just a little bit on the cross up with the MACD, but that'll happen at a 3 times leverage to the bull side ETF, right? Or stock. But we can see here, okay, is this going to cross up? It has all the signals that it's going to. It actually gave you 2 of those signals pretty much right in these 2 bars right here. You saw that crossing above the RSI saying, hey, you have 2 of the swing trade signals, but not the 3rd one. So Nyson will get this a lot since he bought that swing trading course. You'll understand this a little bit better. Meta is squeezing again. Meta squeezing again, so something to look at on the 30-minute for Meta is if this curls back down, but it is getting rid of a lot of those divergences, okay? You see those divergences up there that led to a downturn, okay? Did that roll over a 2-hour chart? It did, so if that 2-hour wants to see some positivity here, bottling up here would be a good thing. A little bit of what you would say is a handle, cup and handle if this didn't happen, but you would say maybe that was because of earnings and then we got the bad news right after. So we'll see if this is able to see more upside. We're going to see this cross. I don't I don't see it having more upside just yet. I think it might need to consolidate a little bit further. So pay attention if this 30 minutes starts to roll down. You're still pretty close to negative territory. Dollar screaming higher. Dollar is seeing a pretty good move here. It's kind of fading every time it gets to this area, but for the most part, dollar seeing a good move, which makes me kind of want to look over at gold, which is seeing a weak move, right? Saying, hey, I have a 30-minute divergence, 2-hour can roll down, 2-hour has rolled down. So now you're seeing gold start to roll down a little bit. The last hours of money printing. Yeah, who believes that? Okay, let's do it this way. Yes or no in the chat, right? Yes or no in the chat. Are they withholding the data to... Yeah, what's the best way to word this? Are they withholding the data on purpose for some reason? And do people really believe that? You can start a poll. I actually can start a poll, I think. I think I know how to do that. I've done it once. Let me see if I know how to do it. Let's just say this. Well, I guess people are going to answer the first question, so I'll let it go for a second here. Wait, how do I go to my... Oh, I have to be able to go live here. Am I already there? There we go. Okay, this one here. All right, there it is. That's end stream. We don't want that. Where the heck do I take a poll? Is it here? I gotta figure this stuff out, man. Yes. Okay, now this. Now the next question. Do you believe that the data is bad for the market because they did that? Do you believe it is a bad thing for the market that they did that? Like the data is bad. Do you believe the data is bad or good? Engage. Start a poll. Let's try this. Let's try this. All right, let's do this. Starting with a poll. Let's see if that works. So far, 100% yes. 67% yes. All right, we'll see what happens with that. Oh, the poll's over here. Nice. Okay, sweet. But it's kind of in my way. Can I move it? I can't move it. So I might be on your chats just a little tiny bit late. It's kind of in the way. Wait, if I close this? For research purposes, I'm going to hit this close button and see if it stops the poll. End poll. This says close poll. Let me close the poll here and see if that ends it. Okay, looks like it didn't end it, right? That's good. Market's too high right now to put good data out. Everybody calls will go up. People are leaning towards that call side now. You see that down towards 0.76, and we see the dollar trying to go higher, but still coming down. We'll see if this direction is able to change for the shorter time frames. Yeah, on mine it says close the poll, or on my streaming on YouTube it's just end the poll is all I get. So we want to pay attention to some stuff here, though. Seeing people go dramatically to the call side, okay, we can pay attention to that. We can see that someone saying NVIDIA seeing another good upward move. Well, this 30 minutes going to confirm that upward move. But my worry is, does it just make a divergence? Then we get that data. So we'll have to pay attention to the signals before the data. And then just know that even if this divergence is made, what we like to say a lot of the time is, this divergence can be here, but are we going to get bad news right here? Because if you get good news right here, hey, that can go and make a bunch of new divergences, right? We can continue to squeeze if people do that, if people go to the put side and really do some stuff. So that's what I'd more so look at. We'll look at the shape of things. Looks like 70% is what we have right now. 70%, about 30 votes coming in there. So 70% of people that voted, 71% still going. We'll leave it for just a little bit longer. Only if we break yesterday's highs, you think that that happens? I don't know. People are not liking the fact that that data didn't come out, aren't they? Yeah, Mustafa, it looks like things are starting to rotate just a little bit here. Now we're seeing what? The dollar is coming down while the market came down. So weirdly enough, the dollar is going down right when the market starts to go down. The dollar actually goes down. It did not extend further up. You see that zeroing out. So that would tell you people are still willing to buy is pretty much what's going on there. So we'll see if there's some kind of reaction before or after the data, and we'll be live later today to make sure we're paying attention to it for you. Delayed by 15 minutes? Someone said it was delayed until 2 p.m. Was it delayed until 2 p.m. or was it delayed until for 15 minutes? That's kind of what I'm looking at. No way those numbers weren't ready last night. Exactly. Yeah, they were definitely ready. What do you think about Tesla? I think as we look at Tesla, you see it starting to come down a little bit. This is a retest here of this broken trend line. Still, we'll zoom out to a 2-hour. You see kind of like how that trend line was. It's the trend line between the two highs from previous, just so you're aware. But something that would be good for Tesla still, I think, would be to reload. I still think a reload would be nice. And we want to treat this like it could be bad if this rolls over, but that could just turn right back around, right? If we're still going to remain bullish, we're going to see things turn back up. So at this moment, the 30-minute down like this, if that 2 hour is not going to roll over, then this 30-minute might rotate up. And then the key thing here is, right as you get to a level where you probably need to consolidate to break through, is where you could create that little divergence and then experience the 2 hour pullback. So we'll see what happens by the end of the day. Maybe this leaks into, I don't know, maybe this leaks into Thursday and then we see that and then we pull back on Friday. Who knows? But that's what I would overall say is 30-minute crosses up, good sign. Right now it's negative, or it's turning down. The 2 hour crosses down though, you have yourself a 2 hour pullback, and most likely this little zone here will be important. Breakthrough, test it, bounce higher, retest it again, bounce higher. That is what I'm kind of looking for here, but I want to treat this like it could be bad because Tesla didn't have the divergence. It had 30-minute divergence down here that would look really good. That's why we paid attention to it, but Tesla didn't look like NVIDIA, aka Tesla could go all the way down to these lows and form some kind of massive divergence, right? That would be a great signal. I don't think that happens. I think this is very positive. I think we see some kind of curl down and then it starts to rotate back up unless we get something surprising from the market. So I want to treat this like it could be bad, as volatility is, once again, I have it in my brain, right? I know that I need to treat this as it could be bad because volatility is testing that 200. And if we see volatility turn up for just a couple of days, you might see another moment like this one. So I want to be aware of that. And I want to be aware if that's not going to happen. Dow Jones is selling off. Let's go look at the Dow Jones real quick. Now, Dow is in an area where it's really moved sideways here. So this is where it's kind of interesting because the 2 hour has curled down, but you'll notice this 30-minute is just really close to the center line. So if the 30-minute curls up, we should expect positivity from the Dow, right? But if we want to see great structure to head up, then I would really like it to retest some level down in here. Kind of the break up area, right? The breakout area is where I want to test. Somewhere in this little box would be nice to go test, and it would give you that structure that looks really nice heading up. Right now, if we wanted to go a little higher, say we just make that structure up here, maybe we go higher, see a 30-minute divergence, and then that pulls back. That's something that can happen. That's kind of what's happening with NVIDIA, right? We can go over, pop over to NVIDIA and see what happened. Oh, it broke out. So if it wanted to, all it would have to do is keep going higher, right? We go up to this point, then we pull back down, and then we curl up over time, left head, right shoulder. That would be massive. You'd probably see a huge move from NVIDIA at that point. What most likely will end up happening here is, and this is just a thought, not really most likely, actually. I shouldn't say most likely when I say this, but something that could happen is the market goes down for a while, And then NVIDIA earnings saves everything. A lot of the time, that's usually Apple. Before NVIDIA was the big dog that everyone pays attention to, it was Apple. And Apple would save the market all the time. Now we have to see if NVIDIA does. But also, you would say, if NVIDIA, such a big stock, gives bad numbers, that would be horrible for the market. So it's kind of like a catch-22. And that's why earnings, I won't be playing NVIDIA earnings in any way. I think there could be a massive move from earnings, so not willing to risk anything there. Now dollar heading back up just a tiny bit. Put call ratio still low. SPY still heading up. So we'll see. I think this is going to be, now that we don't get data in the morning, it's going to be maybe boring until that data comes out. Reaction to the data is what we're all overall looking for. Okay, so 69% of people, at least the 54 people that voted, think that the revision will be bad for the market. 31% say, no. Let's end that poll. Awesome. That was fun. I'm glad we learned that together. There you go. Will the revision be there? 68% say yes, 31% say no. Damn, I tried to stop that when it was on 69%. That's unfortunate. Amazon, great move. Down now, Amazon hitting that breakdown area. So this might have a 30-minute divergence forming. But you would say this moved sideways for quite some time. This isn't the best looking divergence, right? It's not very clear in my opinion. So this could be the start of something new. Who knows? But if that curls down, you're going to say, ooh, bigger pullback might be coming. Maybe we go fill a gap and then we turn back up in this area in here. What else is happening? Meta, still want to pay close attention to this one. Kind of retesting that high. We'll see what happens. The reason you got to pay attention to Meta is just because of the daily scale here. The daily scale showing you that evenness here and then showing you that downward move on the RSI. So if there is a big roll down here, it can be pretty bad. You can go back into negative territory. Very interesting move there. Something to also look at, Netflix was a strong mover, starting to give it up at this moment with not really the clearest signal on the 30-minute. Hourly, not really clearing that up either. 2 hour just saying, hey, I might need a pullback at some point. Geez. Now, this would still be, overall, you would say cup and handle could be forming here. So if that 2 hour curls down, curls right back up, remains positive, that would be very, very good. Even if it dips negative for a brief moment, curls right back up, that's something I'm looking for. Target had earnings today. Target had earnings today, and let's see if anything popped up before these earnings, because you didn't have a 2 hour divergence, but you did have daily divergence, okay? Daily divergence here for Target, proving to be some good momentum. Now, the key thing here is the momentum was saying, hey, I kind of want to bounce off of this negativity and start to go positive. And did this mean earnings had to be good? No. Earnings easily could have distributed that action down to the downside. But we noticed that dividend earnings all at the same time, great stuff there, and boom, divergence plays out to the upside. Now you're above the 200, so looking for most likely still a 2 hour pullback in this one. At least I would say a 30-minute pullback in this one, right? 30-minute kind of just remains in this area. That would be nice. Curls right back up. So bullish signals, yeah, some reversal bullish signals, I would say, for Netflix, or sorry, for Target before the earnings. But just so you know, that doesn't mean earnings had to be good. They could have said something bad, and you just see the energy that was behind this move for today. So if that was bad, well, this all could have happened in the other direction, and you could have ended up down towards something like 122. Netflix boycott will hit the next earnings cycle. I don't know when Netflix next earnings is. Hold on, I gotta delete something on here. It's popping up. Their next earnings isn't for quite a little while, but this would add up into some timing with the election. We'll see what happens with the election going forward. I think you still have the opportunity to see something bad before the election. I think that moment could, one of the times to pay attention, might be right now, right? As volatility tests that 200, it might be right now. So we have to pay attention to it. The dollar showing some signals like, hey, I've been beat up for a long time. I have a 4 hour divergence, just seeing if that ever confirms, but not really getting strong bars from the dollar yet. Probably going to wait all the way until the data, if that is later today. I'm just going to keep checking it every once in a while. I'm gonna refresh this page, see if we can find anyone talking about it. All right, here, someone's talking about it. I like Unusual Whales. He talks about it pretty good. And the first comment says, gotta finish cooking the books before they release and revise a month later. Oh, gosh. Of course, that's the first comment I read. And someone else just reporting the fact that every single time it's revised down, so they're showing that the jobs market is stronger than it is what they're overall getting across. Does that mean that's what we're going to get from the data? No, we have to pay attention to just what is actually said with that data. Because weirdly enough, people aren't going to react with what's really happening. Whatever data they get is what you're going to think that number is. So it's kind of like if someone's lying to you, you're not stupid. They're just an asshole. That's kind of how I treat lying. Macy's is laughable. Oh my God. Hold on, let me make sure this is right. There we go. Wow, that is not a good sign. 2 hour gave you a little hint yesterday, but that would just tell you, hey, maybe mitigate risk before an earnings or take some off the table. Good morning, YS. Oh my goodness, what a good day, right? Excuse me. IWM. A lot of these are just 30-minute curls up, good. 2 hour curls down, bad. Oh, that was the report. Okay. Gotta change my shirt real quick. I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm gonna go change out of this. I'm in a hoodie right now. I'm getting a little hot, so I'm gonna change it into a t-shirt real quick. 1 second, and then I'll read that for in a moment here, William. We're back. We're back. We're back. Did we get some jobs data yet? I'm still not getting the non-farms here. The data is going to come off at 10:30. Indicates that we are in recession. Will that send the market down, or will the large rate cut send the market higher? Most likely, a bigger rate cut is not a good thing. The way that it would be good for the market is a 25 basis points. If it's higher than 25 basis points, or they say we need to cut a lot faster, the only way they could maybe save it is by spreading them out a little bit. But overall, if they indicate they have to cut by more than 25 basis points over the next, I would say 2 months or 3 months, then you should probably be a little bit on the fearful side over the next couple months. But we'll see. No news besides, hey, it's got a daily divergence, so seeing if that thing can gain some steam. But what time zone 10:30? Because it's 10:30 Eastern right now, isn't it? As far as it goes for Clove, we can finally maybe see something with Clove, right? Clove's been doing some stuff for a long time. 30-minute did cross up. So right now it's telling you positivity is likely, but you need to break through this key level to go make that new high. All right, so if you're going to make a new high, though, this is the signal you want to see. Now, if we look over at the 2-hour, has that curled down? Well, it curled down for a moment, and it's trying to curl right back up. That could mean there's a little bit more positivity, but overall, I'm still looking for a 2-hour bigger pullback, right? A bigger pullback for the 2-hour would be nice, or a bigger sideways movement that then gets this close to the center line would be the better opportunity. But if you're doing the shorter time frames, I get it. 30-minute curls up. Hey, that's where it has a shot to go make that high. CrowdStrike 30-minute divergence immediately. You can see the 30-minute divergence. So if this starts to experience some weakness, that can mean very bad things for your 2-hour chart. 2-hour chart already telling you, hey, we need to pull back from here. You get that overexcited move from the 30-minute, and then you have to see what happens from here. Okay, you got to really see what happens from here, because the 30-minute, if this just curls down, curls right back up, you can continue positivity. You have daily momentum with you, right? Daily momentum just about to cross that center line. But a lot of the time, this is a great move. You might need to move sideways, consolidate in some way. A 2-hour pullback would be how that happens. Someone posted, remember they say that 10:30, and now they didn't put it up. GME also running up, rotation incoming. Oh, shiznit. Okay. Let's just see. Let's try to just be patient with it. 2 hours still need to curl up. AMC 2-hour needs to curl up, and then you have possibilities of this daily scale being able to ramp up as well. So I don't know. Something's fishy with this jobs data. Can anyone else feel it in the air? I mean, anytime that they're like, hey, we have this jobs data, we don't want to tell you about it. It's kind of like, oh crap, why don't they want to tell you? Do they not want the market to get too excited because the job data is good? Or do they know that there was a big reaction to jobs data previously, and therefore they don't want that same reaction this time? That's kind of the two ways we got to look at it. Payrolls is out. All right, non-farm payrolls are, oh my God, minus 806 in 18K. Well, isn't that number mainly in the middle? Well, let's just look back. Just look at the previous number. Yeah, that's not the biggest revision in the world. Not the most massive revision in the world, but still pretty big deal. We'll see how people react to it. So let's go look over at the SPY now that we've gotten some of that data. We'll see if this actually gets that upward move. That doesn't scream to me like it's absolutely awful. I feel like you needed like tens of millions or something like that negative. Would have more putting that negativity in there. How are you guys reading into the data? Goldman Sachs knew the number before we did. Well, someone always knows before you do. That's why we say things are rigged, right? Oh, they were expecting 187. Okay, that's a pretty big difference. Financial sector, mild sell-off. One that people are worried about, Bank of America. We'll see what happens with this. 30-minute divergence there, confirmed. 2-hour, crossed, so heading down. We'll see if things happen with this. Volatility still not increasing dramatically from that. Dollar, though, dollar seeing a little bit of an increase, so we'll see if this 4-hour can start to turn up today. High, but priced in already. Yeah, that's kind of, I didn't feel the most bearish about that. Goldman's comments. I haven't read those comments, but John, you can share them with the chat. I'm down. Just try to make it clear so I can understand. Benchmark 818, previous minus 187. Okay, that's a little bit of a difference. But I'm more so want to just look at the signals here. I don't want some piece of data to make me bearish and then they use me as someone to buy puts to then just send the market higher. Market's heading up as of right now. We'll see if this actually crosses up, but this might create that point of divergence today before Jerome Powell talks. That would be interesting. Come on, VIX, let's see, 21. Well, you're starting to see the SPY curl up on this MACD. Now, you can see how if we did this really quickly, bad things can start to happen if that momentum really dies out and we get some kind of even, I would say, worse news. Will the jobs data be revised later again? Most likely. I think every single one has been revised, so if you get a new piece of data, just know most likely it's going to change. NVIDIA is pumping. Let's go. NVIDIA's jumping. We got to see if 30 minutes start to curl up. Remember, that's the first thing we got to pay attention to. If those 2 hours aren't going to fully see pullbacks and you're going to see 30 minutes curl up, maybe the timing is a little bit off. Bitcoin, how are you reacting? Bitcoin's still not giving the most strength here. Looks like it doesn't know which way it wants to go. It has the structure to head higher, it's just can it. 0.5 rate cut. If we get a 0.5 rate cut, I'm a little worried for the market, to be honest. Just being genuine about that. That's going to worry me a little bit if we get a 0.5. For now, we know what the target is, I think. I think first you got to pay attention to this daily expected move now that you've broken through the high. Buy US bonds. Don't worry, just lie a little bit. Yeah, John. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. You just never actually getting the truth. The only time you get the truth is right as everything breaks or after they've already broken. Right, just look at the housing crisis. We had a period of time where housing was going through the crisis, but they were just not letting it hit the tape in the stock market. Everyone knew that the housing was going through a crisis, but they kept it higher until they could get positions. That way they wouldn't be hurt as much. VIX dropped on the announcement. Yeah, so with volatility, the big thing to pay attention to here is we are seeing that 30-minute drop. 2 hour can drop down. Watch out for the 2 hour to cross down. That would be a sign that we might squeeze a little bit further. Same with the bank crisis. Yeah, everyone knew that these things were happening, but they don't allow it to hit the market until they are in a position where it won't hurt them as bad or they can even benefit from it. And that's kind of the sad truth there, in my opinion. Yeah, and everything goes to dark pools. Yeah, you guys know me. I am someone who, I want the free market to free market. If you want to start a business, I don't think anything should be backed by the government at all. I think a business should run and let supply and demand solve how big it should get. If I start a business and you start the same business next door, it'll be competition, and we'll grow to however big we're supposed to grow. But, you know, dark pools are kind of 100% against free market behavior. That's why I don't like them. What is it? Freedom isn't free. It's hefty fucking fee. All right, 30 minutes. Starting to curl up here. So we would have to say from this level, most likely we're going to at least go to 562.89. All right, if not, remember I said gravitate towards the weekly expected move as we get closer. So 563.82 could be on the table for today as well. But you notice if we did that and got rejection later today, if we got some bad news, we would have that form of divergence really close to the center line. It is strong. Yes, it is strong. And that's why I'm not saying that this has to be crash into nothingness. I think that a 2-hour pullback or sideways price action would be nice. I don't think that this is necessarily great data to send us into absolutely skyrocketing all-time highs. I'm more thinking if we pull back and then we curl back up, we can head to those all-time highs. I gotta wait 1 second, Asdean, to read that because it's behind my little heart. Wait, I feel like this market running up is a trap. Well, we'll notice if it's a trap, if the dollar starts to go up and we start to see a major amount of calls and if volatility starts to turn up. Right now, we're not necessarily seeing that behavior. If anything, the dollar has started to still come off. It's not really seeing a huge reaction, so. But it is positive while the market's positive. You can read into it with that. Let's see, please check JDST. Oh, okay. What's JDST? I don't think I've ever looked at this. Oh, this is the gold miners or what? Gold miners mainly, you would see how this is coming down. 30-minute divergence there. Want to see if it's on a 2-hour because that's pretty spread out. It's not, but that might be a daily double bottom. See how the daily's getting really close here? Uh-oh, that might be bad. We'll see. Well, that might be good for the gold miners, but also this is on a 2x leverage, so it's hard to do your technical analysis on it. Well, that's where the sideways price action could move, and you might see a more volatile sideways price action, like a range. That's why we've talked about a range. So, yeah. Hollow. Oh, and tomorrow maybe I'll show off my AR since I shot it. Hollow still heading down. That's the big problem with a lot of stocks that look like this. And you want to see a great reaction. I get it. Like, I get it, man. I want it for you. Trust me. I want you to succeed. But there is just no technicals to do here. If you really wanted to look like, is it at least an okay investment for some time? Okay, the weekly's turned up. You had weekly divergence and things like that. But really, it would be like, is the monthly turning up? We don't have enough data for that. But Hollow just doesn't look like something you could do a lot of technicals on. Now let's try your other one here, Mullen. There's been some people who have asked about this. Let's look at it backwards here. Monthly scale, getting close to the center line, crossed up. That's a good thing. You zoom in, so this thing kind of just, oh man, it's not gonna be. I gotta really zoom into these penny things. It's just there's no technicals you can do on something that looks like these. There's nothing really you can do besides say, hey, if a weekly turns up, I could take a chance. If it takes a long time, you know, this would say to me, if I see this, you bet your ass I'm not doing an option because time will just take all my money. But there's no real technicals to do on a chart like this. Unfortunately, I wish it was different, but I'm going to give it to you straight. I'm not trying to make you feel good or anything like that. I'm trying to give it to you straight here. I try to be like just an honest person all around, and that's why, you know, I'm going to tell you if I don't see anything, I don't see anything, and that's one of the ones I don't see anything. I would just say an option would be something I'm very deterrent from looking at that. Punch protection in dark pools, I don't think they'll let anything fully crash, despite it being what it needs, only up until the music somehow stops by force. Yes, and so the only way that the music truly stops is if we probably literally see like something actually crazy. You know, we talk about seeing something crazy on this channel, but seeing something crazy would be EMP. Seeing something crazy would be nuclear war. Seeing something crazy would be civil war. Those type of things can really mess things up, right? Those are things that are the craziest of crazies. And I think you got a good shot of maybe an EMP hitting at some point. I mean, the crazy part is, it almost seems not that crazy with what you see in the news all the time. It's like, it's possible, which is kind of scary. Were the jobs numbers good or bad? Well, it depends on how you read into it. The jobs numbers getting revised down. Remember, they've said, oh, the jobs numbers have remained strong. The jobs numbers have remained strong, even in the weakening. The jobs numbers are remained strong, even as inflation comes down. And then they revise those numbers down. So now you're like, okay, is the jobs data really that strong, or is that unemployment going up, right? Non-farm payrolls. It could be, we need to wait for that next unemployment reading. But you would say it in a different way if you just looked at it from this perspective. The real question is the job data good for the market? And right now you would say there is a positive reaction to that data that we just received from the market at this moment. That's more how I would say it. My entire portfolio went from crazy red to crazy green. Well, that's got to feel good. And that's where you want to pay attention to signals. If you have some trades that ever come back for you, I like to treat it as, whoo, let me take a breather now. That really sent me for a loop. Let me get out of this with some profit, actually, and then be like, okay, let me be a little patient for a while and take a breath. Let me go to the gym and come back and look at things, right? That's kind of how I am. If I've ever had a trade that I was really confident in and I'm like, man, why is this still not proving for me? And then it just prints all of a sudden, I would be like, ooh, thank you. I'm going to get rid of that stressor. A forced black swan is all that will tank this criminal market. Otherwise, crime lords control the levers and won't make themselves a penny poorer. And I think we read into things similarly. Watch consultant. Search this, has August 2024 payrolls data been posted? It's saying it won't be out until September 6th. Let me look at September 6th on the economic data. That's weird. Oh, so are we going to get another revision on September 6th? Because you know it comes out September 6th. Non-farm payrolls. And the unemployment rate. Oh, shit. Are they going to revise it and it's going to be even worse? Are they going to revise things again? Oh, no. Okay, well, September 6th, you get unemployment and non-farm payroll. So that could just be someone, I don't know where you're getting that from at this moment. But as far as it goes, on September 6th, we do get non-farm payrolls before the market opens on a Friday. Ooh, that would shake things up, wouldn't it? So double top on SPX. Yeah, you're starting to fade this just a little bit. The dollar's actually going down, though, while that happens. While that fading happens, the dollar's still coming down. PCC not terribly high, right at the level where you'd say people are starting to get a little overzealous to the call side. Volatility not crashing down, though. It's turning down, it's just not crashing down. Dow not confirming the 30-minute move up yet either. So I'd mark September 6th. We'll pay close attention to that week for sure. That first week really in September. Yeah, so now, and I think that's it too. People are putting a lot of weight into any kind of rate cut, but I think it's good to understand, even if the market goes up with it, a 50 basis point rate cut is a reaction to something bad, in my opinion. I think if you get 25 basis points, then it's like, okay, I think the market does overall just continue to go higher. But for the most part, I think September 6th jobs data now, if they're already saying like, hey, we could revise again, that's something a little crazy. Well, you'd say the reaction was initially good. We have to see how it plays out over the next few. Yeah, see, exactly, Jonathan. 25 basis points, pretty bullish. 50 basis points could be bullish initially, but you need to understand that is a faster cut than a 25 basis point cut. So they could be reacting to something. So even if the market goes higher with that, we'll pay attention for reversal signals. That's all we want to do, is mainly just look for reversal signals. 50, yeah, once you get to 50, you're like, is inflation down to 2%? Like, why are we cutting this much? Because inflation's not down to 2%. And now we're getting revised job data. No, I don't know. All right, we crossed up for a moment, but that's starting to fade back down. VIX bouncing back up. You are right about that. But just note that as that comes down, the dollar's going down. Okay? So now we're starting to see that weird time where we're seeing this correlation start to flip a little bit. We'll see what happens. People getting some calls in there. The market shoots down. Maybe if they get overly zealous to the put side, we could see the dollar continue to drop. That would mean to me, hey, we might see some kind of move to the upside, actually. But big move on the VIX. Yeah, we've got like a 3% move starting to curl up on the 30-minute. 2-hour is up there. Daily is what you're mainly looking for. I know that that's going to take some time, but that is what you need to pay attention to over the next few days. Pretty good move here from Volatility, though. How's that helping with UVXY? Pretty good stuff. Came down to these lows, right? Came down into these lows a little bit. Didn't cut them. Now this is decaying all the time, but if that can see a reaction from Volatility, we can see a reaction in the market. That's mainly when UVXY sees positivity, when the market really pulls down and Volatility pops at the same time. Oh, okay, cool. Might look into that. Oh, Microsoft Copilot. Okay. Oh, shit. Yeah, Volatility is doing well. My hedge starting to see some good things. None. Let's see if we get some news on this. Let's see what they're saying about it. Let me read through some articles here. What the average was? A decline of 68K jobs per month. These revisions are based on a reconciliation with initial jobless claims, which don't include. Okay, so the data doesn't include illegal immigrants, apparently, or the initial jobless claims doesn't include illegal immigrants. Given the surge in border crossings and non-farm payrolls, numbers may have a better measure of actual job creation because they aim to capture all hiring, including illegal immigration. So non-farm payrolls would include illegal immigration. Percentage revision to employment is 0.5%. The bulk of the losses were in professional and business services. Professional and business services sector sees whopping 358,000 cut. Leisure and hospitality down 150K. Manufacturing losses is 115K. And some silver linings, health and education adds 87K. Transportation up 56K. Of course, the only one that's legit is government employment, essentially unchanged. So that was the only correct piece of data, apparently. Interesting. Wow. Only scalp big rig, yeah. What happened just on? Oh, we got some data. Originally, it was perceived as a good thing, jobs being cut, but we'll see. I think people still reading into the rate change, so it will be FOMC will be very important. So I will be live later today. When does that come out? So I make sure I'm live for it. Let me make sure to get the time right here. Okay, so you will get a pretty long closing stream today. We'll be on for the last 2 hours. Yeah, so I'll be on for the last 2 hours of the day. Breaking news? Anything breaking here? Oh God, more politics. I don't really care. Politics have really gone sour for me. Like I used to watch, like it used to be entertaining. Politics used to be entertaining when Biden was speaking. Okay, Dow is falling. Last few days sucked. Yeah, they're kind of just gradual up squeezing type of days, and then sideways price action looked the most likely for yesterday with those daily expected moves. Now, just a quick note, the SPY is going down, but the dollar is going down too. So we need this to react the other direction for us to really see this be a correlated move, a negatively correlated move where stocks go up and the dollar goes down. If it starts to be correlated, right, which it is right now, positively correlated, meaning dollar going down and SPY going down, then you could start to see some kind of rigged behavior by the end of the day. So we'll pay attention to that throughout our day. SPY actually flipping to negative here, seeing 2 hours actually do crossover and confirm. So now you're looking like still sideways on for the 2 hour to get by that center line, or down to pull back and grab some buyers. Dustin, I think that's exactly what we should be paying attention to. So I totally agree with the fact that we need to watch the dollar, we need to watch the SPY and pay attention to what's happening in those shorter time frames. I 100% agree with you. IWM giving it up, Dow crossing, SPY, Qs. Apple, is that confirming the divergence up here? It is. So Apple confirming a divergence very close to the center line, guys. So Apple can experience some weakness here. Maybe the FOMC saves it. Maybe it saves it. But for the most part, you would say this is a weakening in momentum. If this is going to be bad, well, then I can manage some kind of trade here. Volatility with a 5% move up now. Remember, the daily crossing is what we really need to see, though. You don't want more upside. I'm actually with you on that one, early bids. I'm with you on that. I don't think you want more upside here. I think this is the perfect area, again, for more consolidation, right? If we would have stopped like here, I'd have been like, ooh, that could really start to add up to some weakness. But for the most part, the 2 hour getting all the way up to this area, getting all the way up to this gap fill area here, if you can build up in this area, it can be a great thing. You can go to a new all-time high. I don't think you want to go too much higher this week or else you might get overexcited. I know, payroll revised down. So all the times where Jerome Powell was saying that the jobs data is super strong, which is very baffling to him, I think you have to know if you're in that position that those numbers are just wrong. There's no way you miss these revisions every single time. Well, they didn't necessarily postpone it to, we got some numbers, but they're probably going to revise again is how I'm reading into it, Robert. Am I reading into that correctly? Given my experience in the market, if you get fake data, you want to see which direction the market is heading before the next time you need to pay attention to data that is similar to that. Is the data good or bad? I would say overall bad. Overall bad, but in the short term, it can be seen as good because of the rate cut narrative, right? That's how I would read into it. So yeah, I would just more so be saying, if we see the signals turn up, right, that's what I want to pay attention to. But I would really be looking at what is the look before that data. What was the reaction they kind of were trying to get here? Is the reaction to reload before that data? Are we going to leak this all the way into September 6th? Are we going to see the 30-minute give us a crazy downward move, right? We go like this, and then we bounce up, and then next week we go to a weekly move, and then we start to curl up, and boom, you see a 2 hour divergence here, and then that 2 hour just curls back up. That is how that would overall play out with my experience in the market, Robert. That is how I would see it if this is the goal, right? If this is the goal, that's how I would see it. And then you'd see what? You'd see, oh, the 30-minute goes really deep, comes back up, goes down again, and then curls back up, and you see that down here. That's more what would happen if volatility is going to remain higher, which as of right now, volatility turning up, it looks like it might. Bad news is good news until it isn't. Bad news is good news until unemployment goes to an unbelievable level. Remember, this is just a small, like this is not This is not crazy by any means, right? This is not crazy by any means, right? But once it hits a certain level, look at the way it, see like this. We're pretty much at like this stage. So if we get another reading and it goes bam, that is when you want to pay attention. Bam, that is when you go from 4.3 to possibly 5.5 or something like that, right? That's when you want to pay attention. So, because that is going to cause that is bad news. It turns into bad news again. That's what that is. That's why we pay attention to unemployment the most. Right, what do we say on this channel? If you've been a part of this channel for probably 6 months or so, 6 months ago, everyone talking about CPI all the time, and I just said CPI won't crash the market. I made a whole video about it. I was like, CPI will not crash the market. It will not. We've gotten bad CPI readings for years. Has the market fully crashed? No. You had a little bear market for an overall, I would say, bear market correction. But other than that, nothing. What crashes the market is jobs data, unemployment data. And look at that. What causes the downturn in this period of time? Jobs data. So the data is bad. Well, you just want to see how it's perceived at this moment. This could all just be market manipulation. We don't even know anymore. That's why paying attention to the signals is the best thing. You just want to more so pay attention to, this is a drop in jobs. This is a revision that is pulling those jobs down. And you already got an unemployment number that was bad. So technically, if people can read into it that far, you would say this is a bad thing. That's how you want to treat it. Think like it's more just a common sense angle. If unemployment was bad for the market, if jobs data was bad for the market because people were losing jobs, and then you get a piece of data that says, hey, the piece of data that said we have good jobs, it's actually worse than that. That is how I think about it. And so this technically should be a bad thing for the market. Does it mean it has to crash? Not necessarily. People are still euphoric about a rate cut. So when I think about that, if they get a rate cut, we can see a beneficial move. Now, if they say we need to cut rates because jobs are looking too weak here, that can cause something as well. So we'll just pay attention to the signals, though. That's where things really come together and make more sense, right? It'll, like, think about it now. You're all confused right now. Everything's all confusing here, and I get it. Some of it's confusing to me. I'm not going to leave you alone with that. Some of this is confusing to me, but it's going to be a lot more clear if we do this. It's going to be a lot more clear if we just do that. That's going to be pretty clear. And then we'll go into that first week of September and see some upside maybe. And then we'll have to see what happens from there, right? If you give yourself the patience, you give yourself some time, things can really become more clear, right? That's why you don't take a trade every single day. That's why I don't try to make money every single day, right? I'm still sitting on the same positions as yesterday. I'm not adding anything because of this, right? That's how I'm looking at it. Things will get more clear as I'm more patient. Then you want to say, what if we just do this and then do that and I see a bad signal? What if we do that, do this, and then I see a bad signal? Then that will be more clear, right? This will become more clear. And that is the signal I'm really paying attention to. Whenever, if we make a 2-hour divergence above this high, I'm going to be a little fearful. That's all I'm saying, right? Whenever, and I bet money everyone is going to be greedy around that area if we make some kind of signal like that. And we'll either get a bigger pullback or, if not, some kind of downturn that reverses trends around. You're seeing a rising wedge in this overall move. Peace out, peeps. Going to Firehouse subs. Hey, thank you so much, Short Fridays, for the $10. That's awesome. Tell me what to order. Short Fridays, what's your favorite sandwich from there? Maybe I'll try it. I've never been to Firehouse subs. Maybe I'll make my wife go with me today because Short Fridays is forcing us to. I'm down for a nice sub. I like myself a good sub. We call my mom the sandwich lady because whenever we go over to her house, she offers us a sandwich. Okay, so it is a big revision. That's what I was trying to figure out. If you didn't hear me typing a bunch and clicking around a bunch, I was trying to figure out, like, I was like, is this a big revision? And then I like just kind of looked into it. I was like, I think it's a decent size. I don't think it's like massive, but then you say something like that, it makes me think differently. There you go, Short Fridays. Thank you so much. Okay, so that's what the sandwich is called, a hook and ladder. What's in a hook and ladder? And then you can leave and go enjoy your day. I'm sorry, I have to ask. But thank you so much for the $10. Thank you for giving back to this community. Really appreciate it. Family appreciates it. Thank you so much. We'll go treat ourselves to a nice lunch. Publix has better subs. We don't have Publix here. I've been to Publix, though. Back in Georgia, we used to go to Publix all the time. $5.61 into a free fall. Do we still think? I mean, you still have to say this isn't like rapid selling or anything like that. And the dollar's coming down. Dollar's still coming down. Now you're making a small 30-minute divergence. You can read into that however you want. I like to look at 2-hour charts more so. And I'm not necessarily seeing too much here besides a very elongated divergence, which, you know, this low kind of violated that. So the only signal I'm really seeing is maybe this 4-hour I can read into. If we see a prolonged 4-hour, 8 hours of move to the upside, that's when I'll pay attention. It's market manipulation. You're 100% correct. Yeah, I still think we get the 2-hour pullback. It's just, do we get that right now, or do we get one more fake out move to the upside, right? Do we go test a weekly expected move first, right? Where that options market, the market makers can make the most amount of money if they get to this weekly expected move, get people bullish, and then start to drop it on that 2-hour. So that's something I'm thinking could happen still, right? Bait and switch you, bait you, and then boom. Oh, wait. Oh, God. Jerome Powell, or FOMC comes out. That's not good, right? That can be it. But it also could be, what if we keep dropping, the dollar keeps dropping, and then FOMC is good news. So I'm just looking for a reaction here. Am I going to take a trade based on anything today? Not necessarily, unless I see something like this. That can convince me to take a trade and then manage it closely. Dang, we're going into, everyone has something to say about subs. I love it, Jonathan. And is this really priced in already? Is this all priced in because of rate cut? Is it? Is this upward move is this squeeze all because people are saying, hey, now a rate cut can definitely come because that jobs data was bad? And then they announce the rate cut and it all starts to fall, right? It could be a reaction to news. It could be a sell the news event. Who knows? We just want to pay attention to the signals. We'll be just fine. Can we check out Shopify? Yeah, we can always check out Shopify. Let's go check that out real quick. Well, not always. Sometimes we have other stuff we got to pay attention to, but Shopify making a bunch of little 30-minute divergences. I would say right now you got to pay attention if that rolls down. But this is some great upward price action. You just have the divergences all across. So that's the only problem I see here. If you want to make it pretty clear, I think the hourly might be. Yeah, the hourly is a little more crisp, right? So if this could reject from here, now this isn't showing up as well on the hourly, but if this can reject from here, I'd pay attention to it. For the most part, you got to treat it like what? A bullish thing. You're crossed up on the 30 minutes, so it is bullish, but it can turn bearish pretty quick. If we go into a 2-hour, what do you see? The divergence here, and you haven't necessarily pulled back. You pulled back with time. Now if you break to the upside, more upside can be there. You don't have a divergence on the 2-hour just yet. Now you might if you start to reject, but I think this still, everything to me, pretty much, it's almost like every stock that I'm looking at, if it has an upside move, it needs a bigger 2-hour pullback. But pulling back with time like this, you can see some upside there. So 30-minute crosses up. It's crossed up right now. Watch out if it crosses down, but right now it looks kind of bullish. Chicken tender subs. I don't know if that's a place or if that's a specific sub, but I don't think I've ever had a chicken tender sub. Kind of want one now, though. Dollar continuing to drop and call still coming in. So it's saying pretty similar, meaning the SPY might actually be able to turn up this 30-minute soon. Still just moving sideways from Publix. There's only one tendy man. Yeah, I'll be the tendy sandwich man. What happened to Quiznos? I don't know. I actually used to like Quiznos. Like I used to go to Quiznos with my dad a lot when I was younger. I've never had Jersey Mike's either. I don't venture out. I ate Subway, Quiznos, and Planet Sub. Planet Sub or Yellow Sub. Yellow Sub in Lawrence was so good for my college. It was awesome. But Planet Sub, I love Planet Sub, and it's gone now from my city. We used to have 2 of them. Now we have none, but I used to work at a golf shop, and I would drive my car for 30 seconds over to Planet Sub like twice a week. Oh God, we're getting into that 1683. Yo, I don't even know Quizno's business model. I was like 12 years old when I was eating that sandwich. AMC is just crazy. Sitting above the 200 MA, just had a golden cross and we get a nothing burger. Yeah, a lot not hitting the tape. The cool thing with AMC actually was the fact that the institution owned started to go up to like 40% owned by institutions all of a sudden. And you're just like, that's interesting, because most likely retail is just holding the stock, waiting for something crazy. So if anything, you would say, did they just print a bunch of fake stuff, like a bunch of fake shares, and buy those synthetic shares? And that's how institutions are involved now? We'll see, but that's a big increase. I thought that was interesting. Good morning, Trevor. How you doing this morning? I worked at the first Quiznos. Used to be great. I liked Quiznos. I used to get that pretty often. Whenever my dad, we would do it sometimes after soccer games and things like that. IWM trying to turn back around, curling up on the 30-minute MACD. Just so you're aware, IWM 30-minute MACD trying to curl up. Is that 2 bars? That's 2 bars. So it did curl up, but you're looking for that positive bar curl up, and I think now you might have a chance of getting it. 18 minutes left in the bar. Apple tried to curl down. We'll see if this is just consolidating for another move higher. Good morning, Roger. How you doing? Tesla, solid little pullback with time here. We'll see if that can pop up. Maybe we pop up to 234. Maybe that's a pretty good move. So pay attention to 30 minutes curling up. NVIDIA, what's that trying to do right now? Well, if that curls up, we should expect some positivity. We got to watch out for a trap for sure. If we start to see little things like that, we got to watch out for traps, right? But for the most part, you would say 30 minutes continue to curl up. We should continue to see positivity like we have every single time. Oh, the debt for equity swaps. They did the 75 million and more was swapped with the debt restructure deal. Okay, that does make more sense, actually. But if you're wanting AMC to pop, you got to get this 2 hour to cross up, and it ain't happening right now. 2 hours got to cross up, then that can lead into the daily crossing up. That's just not happening. Something that really suffered was SMCI, didn't it? Yeah, oh, it's really flaggy, actually. Hourly chart might be good here. See if that hourly can turn up, get back towards our zone. LMT. Ooh, gotta zoom out. Hourly I don't really like. 2 hour divergence here, but you are consolidating. See if that can pop back up, right? So 2 hour crosses up, good things can happen. Did the daily cross down? Daily cross down, saying we're in a pullback mode right now. Oops. We're in a pullback mode right now. That's what this is overall saying. So even if that 2 hour does pop, if the daily's not able to curl up too, you could get some kind of double top, some kind of little higher high that then gives you that next divergence point really close to the center line. We'll see if that happens. But for the most part, you would say daily is saying pullback right now. Cross down on the 2 hours for the SPX. We can kind of give a difference here. SPX crossed, SPY crossed. So even though we might see those shorter time frames give us another rigged move up, you got to be aware that the 2 hour is cooked to the upside, and we could see a pullback from here, unless we see something absolutely crazy, right? Because we're getting towards that weekly expected move. 32% chance to see something crazy, 68% chance to land back in these purple lines. So if we get excited, we'll find out. AMD, if you want to go look at that one real quick. 157 right now, really consolidating, not looking like it needs to curl over on the 2 hour yet, right? Not really close, not really kissing just yet. Getting decently there, but still has the opportunity for, as you're consolidating, a 30-minute cross up. Look at that, 30-minute crosses up. You can break through this level. That would make some sense. I'd still be paying attention to this little area in between these white lines, right? It's 169, 160. You're outside of it. By the way, just so you're aware, AMD is already, it's been outside of its weekly expected move for a little bit of time here. So that tells you there is a 68% chance for AMD to do something like this by Friday close. But if you see something crazy, you just want to read into the signals. It doesn't mean, oh, that's going to make all my decisions for me. No, you need multiple reasons. If this goes and makes a divergence and then does it, then you would have multiple reasons, right? But right now you just have, okay, we're going up really high and I have a 68% chance for a drop. Am I really going to YOLO because of that? No, I want to make multiple decisions or multiple reasons to make a decision. Yeah, is this the ETF here? Not really, I wouldn't say too beat up. Consolidative, right? If you really had to look at this, what would you say? I'm moving sideways. What does sideways mean? Oh, we're moving sideways maybe for a pullback with time, right? So if this curls up, good things can happen. If the SPY can do that, you know, good things can happen. That's pretty much all we want to look into. Starting to see some upside here. Oh gosh, are we going to see the dollar rise? Yeah, I saw that 2 hour did cross down, so it's still more likely that we are going to experience a 2 hour pullback. But I want to see in the shorter time frames, I can see that 30-minute curl up for a moment, maybe test a weekly expected move, and then we'll have a little bit more probabilities towards that pullback. Excuse me. Interesting day so far, though. Kind of some craziness, right? Oh, jobs data is coming out. No, it's not. Okay, jobs data released. Ooh, we have less jobs acquired, meaning more unemployment possibly. Oh, okay, that's good news. There could be a reason. This put-call ratio is not necessarily the highest, and the dollar has not turned around yet, so there is no selling. So this still can head a little higher. But we want to see if things are curling up. They aren't curling up yet. So you might be range bound and see if you can break a high or break a low. I'm back again. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm not doing that 0 DTE stuff. That's not my game, but good luck to you. DJT. Oh gosh. Short Fridays is back in it, and he knows that this daily could cross up. That daily crosses up, I like it. That's all I gotta say. I still think you have an opportunity to see like a little 2 hour, and 2 hour did confirm it, right? But 2 hour could just rise up for a bit, cross back down. But the daily's so close to crossing, you probably actually, if you continue the positivity here, you actually have a more likelihood just to see that daily cross up. A yo-yo market, kind of, right? At least in the shorter time frames, you could say you look at the SPY, you go into even like a 30-minute, and you just keep seeing what in this area as we're here. Well, we go up for a minute, we go down for a minute, we go up, we go down, we go up, we go down, we go up, we go down, we go up, we go. And so now it's getting even more crazy in these bars, which makes sense. Volatility increasing, right? So if you're going to hold at the highs and volatility increases, you're going to see more of these bars keep spazzing out back and forth. Morning, Jackie. I'm not Jackie. I'm Lucas. That's rude. No, I'm just kidding. But at least you got the Bank of America move. I'll say that. I'll say that. Tell Jackie I say what's up. Jackie Letitz. All right, dollar still dropping off, PCC dropping. And the SPY starting to see, hey, is it going to curl up on this 30-minute? So yeah, we will be back live later today for 2 hours before the close, actually. So make sure you have those notifications on. What the heck, SPY? Yeah, what you're seeing here is most likely still 2 hour pullback will happen, but in the shorter term, you can see like this little thing happen, and then you don't see that 2 hour cross back up. I think that's a possibility. You don't have to, you know, someone pointing it out in the chat. It's like, you don't have to. They already trapped some people here. It's like, yeah, they already did. But did they trap the amount of people they want? Is the PCC at a level they really were like, yeah, we trapped them? No, I think they might want to get some more calls into the market, really bring this down to like a 0.7. That would be nice. Dow starting to curl back up. We'll see if this thing can curl up into positive territory. That would mean some kind of breakout moment. But is it a trap? if it is going to be a trap, then we'll see this type of setup, right? This type of setup. End of day price, I have no idea where any stock could land by end of day to a specific point, right? I just know ranges and things like that. So by the end of the day, you have a likelihood to a 68% chance to land in this zone. That's the best I can do for you as far as where it could land by the end of the day. Now, the most likely thing, I think, if they really want to fake people out, if you want to see the biggest fake out, it's you send it higher, you get outside of this, you come back down into it, and you end down in this area by the end of the day, like a 556. I have a 560 put. Well, if this crosses up, then that 560 put would not look good for a little bit, and then you want to, you know, really think, is this turning around? That's more so what you'd pay attention to for today. 30-minute crosses up, you can see positivity. That's all you know, right? That's all I know. That's what I pay attention to. That's how I trade. Apple, I'm still not liking this signal. I'm really not liking this weakness in momentum here. But 2 hours just pulling back with time as of right now. Tesla trying to see that curl up as well. A lot of this is 30-minute curl up good. 2 hour is already curled down though, so watch out for a reversal signal if those curl up. Diamond hands, is that what you're saying? Trading regular stocks, probably not always the best to have diamond hands. Good to manage those trades, good to be accountable for your trading, make sure you're managing that risk. But if you're talking about short seller problem stocks, I'm just holding the stock, so I get that. Is this a good time to sit on cash or buy stocks? I need to see more structure for that to be the situation, because at this moment, you're looking like what? If this 30-minute curls up, what could happen? What could happen? We're going to test maybe the all-time highs up here, right? We're going to test those all-time highs. So if we did that, what would form if we start to roll over? Another point of divergence, okay? So if that all happens, that's when you have to be a little worried. And then you would say, is that going to be really bearish? It could, because of one thing. The daily could double top. So if that daily starts to rotate down, if we see some dramatic selling, that would be bad, right? We see this get dramatic. If it doesn't cross down on the daily though, and you just see a 2 hour pullback and we head up to here and then we 2 hour pullback and then we curl back up, what does that look like? Almost like a cup and handle. Maybe this violated it, but you would say consolidating right here before a breakout is a good thing. That's overall what a cup and handle is. It's consolidation in some way until you're able to break out. Use your email for Zelle use. Oh shoot, I gotta redo my Zelle because I switched over the bank account. Teachable like had some update or something like that, and so I had to change around my bank account. I had to go get another bank account. So I went and got another bank account, but you can try to see if it's there, but I'd be a little worried about trying to on Zelle, right? I'm gonna see, do I even have a Zelle on my new phone, by the way? Oh, I do have Zelle on here. What the hell does it need? Sure. Oh, I use my phone number for that. Yeah, I'm not necessarily saying that that's bearish, by the way. I'm not even saying like even if the daily crosses over, is that overall bearish? You know, you want to more look at this too. It's like, yeah, this would be a very bearish sign, but you always want to look at the other side. This is a very bearish sign. If this MACD was crossing down, that would be bad. But what if it just does this? Bink. What if it just does this? Bink. We see that. That's going to be a good sign, right? So it's like, it's a bad sign until it forms a good sign is more so what I'm looking for. Funding money for me, there is the best link, you guys, is the PayPal link, or, you know, Short Fridays does it on here. YouTube does take a pretty big cut of the donations, but I always appreciate any donation. But PayPal, there's a PayPal link down in the description that says how to donate to the channel, how to support the channel. That's the best place right there. Technical issue, I can look up if they're having technical issues. It shouldn't be having technical issues, but usually they're pretty good with their status updates. If you want to follow on Twitter, teachable status updates. No, it says that everything's fine. Just kind of make sure you're doing everything right. You know, sometimes with certain things on your phone, like Safari and things like that, doesn't like it. I've seen a lot of people message me like, it's not working, and then they like use on Chrome. I always use Chrome when I look at teachable. But yeah, if it persists, I would say this, see if it persists for a little bit more time, and then I will look into it, of course. Probably, like, see if it's good, and then buy the stream. Okay, buy the stream later today. By the stream later today, let me know if it has persisted, and then I will definitely look into it if it continues. Better than Zelle? Well, for now it is, just because Zelle doesn't have the right account on it. So if you, I don't think it does. And I'd have to give out my phone number for that, right? So I don't want to really give out my phone number unless I could change it. So I don't think I have an email attached to it. Let me see. Signing in. I'll take a look. Oh, it does say or email. I just got to look if my profile has an email on it. Settings, my info. Yeah, my email is on it. Yeah, so my email is on it. It's the email that you've probably used before, Mark and Lisa. If you've gotten the email, lucas.s.hansen@gmail.com. One of them is incorrect, right? That's what you would say. A lot of the time when you see that type of behavior, Matthew, it's one of them is lying, and it's your job to try to figure out which one quickly. So the dollar is heading down again. So that tells us that it's heading for upside. But what is formed for the dollar? Well, you have a 4-hour divergence. Gold is heading down with the 4-hour divergence that it does have, right? We looked at, what was it, GC, right? Gold futures, it is heading slightly down with those 4-hour divergences. So which one is really lying here? Gold is behaving like the momentum actually matters. The dollar is not, and we just got some weird market, I would say, data behavior for right now. So I do have my email connected to it, Mark. But what would we say about the dollar here? So if this starts to turn back around, that's when we know, okay, the dollar was lying the whole time. You're not really gonna know that something is lying until it tells you the truth. That's kind of how it works, right? But at the same time, you can look for other signals as well. What are we seeing? Well, we're seeing volatility pop. If that crosses up on the daily scale, that would be bad. We're also seeing the SPY pop. So maybe this is just a little 30-minute trap. Maybe the 30-minute is going to curl up, and you're going to see this kind of signal, and gold is not going to be able to follow that. So then if at this point here we see the dollar starting to rise, that would mean we're likely to see that pull down, which means gold wasn't lying the whole time, the dollar was. Most of the time the dollar's the one lying, by the way. Dude, I gotta see which account is on this though. Sorry I'm taking some time here, but okay, I gotta switch that card because that's definitely not the right account. Before I start to you know, get donations to account that doesn't exist. I bet it wouldn't. I don't know if it would even allow you to do that. Bad week of trading. Yeah, it's short squeezes are hard. If you don't catch the actual bottom, short squeezes are hard because things just look like they're going up forever. And you try to short it, you try to short it. That's why we always say on this channel, it's like, do not short a short squeeze. It's very, very difficult. You want to really pay attention to when you're close to that center line. Let me go get my wallet real quick. I'll be right back, 1 minute. We're doing a little bit longer stream this morning, but I'm going to probably go till another 30 minutes or so stick around. We're back. Here, let me update it first. I don't want to mess stuff up. Yeah, this is that card is. I had like my card stolen somehow. I got a new one, and then it immediately saw some weird things. It's like the person at the bank took my info or something. Oh. We see, and that hasn't crossed up yet. Oh, fudge. Oh God, this is such a pain. Such a pain right now. It's just so, oh God, I forgot. I knew I'd run into this one day too. Like I have so many things that have that old bank account on it, and like it's like every week I run into something else. Of course I did that wrong. Which I needed to look at this anyway. Okay, nice. Okay. I know I'm doing this and I'm like live right now, but what? How's it looking out there, guys? How we looking? What's going on with gold? What's going on with the dollar? I need to know. I guess. Alrighty. Alrighty, that should be good. Alrighty then, what's going on with the SPY? This is the email. If anyone wants to email, you can always, you know, ask questions and things like that. If I can get to it, I know I'm very bad at getting the emails these days, but I could try my best. Hopefully, I just get a break. I really want to use tomorrow as like my birthday break, like where I get to like have some more fun. I've had a great week so far. I'm hoping to have more fun. But for the most part, I'm like, I could really get shit done on my birthday and not just sit around. I'll leave that up for just a little bit as we click through over to the SPY and the Qs and stuff. Let me click around a little bit, but that's it right there. Qs, we noticed the same thing. We're still looking if that can rotate to the upside. Apple, we're noticed that not able to curl back up. This one's showing more of a weakness signal. Tesla looking a little weak. We'll see if that, as it's pulling back, mainly with time, a little bit of a pullback from the high, but we'll see if that can break to the upside. I just want to click through all these. Ooh, Amazon. Okay, so this is worrisome. Amazon on the 30-minute. Look at this. Look at this. This is a signal to pay attention to because this could have weakness. It doesn't mean it has to crash down. We're still in a very bullish context. What it means is there could be a reversal where the 2-hour is able to pull back. And we look at that 2-hour and it looks like what? It needs to pull back. It doesn't mean it has to fall through the floor. It can, so you kind of treat it that way. But if that just turns back up, that's where the opportunity looks like for me. That's what I'm looking for. Let's keep going through some 30 minutes here with NVIDIA and things like that as well. Hasn't curled up yet, really pulling back with time, but looking pretty flaggy in here at this moment. We'll see if some kind of test of 125. If you break down below that though, hey, 2-hour pullback is still the most likely scenario here. If we continue to do that with time, that'll be great. Thought I smelled something burning for a second. Okay, AMD, this one has not curled over on the 2-hour. It's been very bullish. 30-minute curls up here. Hey, good things can happen, but watch out for a reversal signal like Amazon just gave, right? That signal is something to pay attention to. It is a form of weakness. As we look at Meta, we could have some form of double top. Maybe we clear this up with like an hourly, and you see if that hourly crosses over, where is it? Really close to the center line. But if it breaks through, we can see some good things. So it's a time to pay attention, more leaning towards pullback still. Microsoft, this one here showing you an hourly divergence now, but let's look at it on the 30-minute, see if it's kind of clear. We see that coming down. It's very close to the center line. 30-minute rolls over here. 2-hour pullback looks like a likely scenario at this point, right? We curl down, then we're able to go up. We come down into this area. Maybe this is where we want to create that little pullback to send us to the upside, right? This has been a great move. Google still lagging behind, but maybe this one needs to pull back as well. Going down into that 166 level might be good for Google. Right now sitting at 167.50. Netflix telling you, hey, the 2-hour does need to pull back, but I could see another 30-minute move up before that happens, right? That's kind of what a lot are saying out there. That's what a lot of stocks are telling me. Let's look at Mara. Let's look at Bitcoin, actually. Bitcoin, looking for that 2-hour to roll up, still hasn't done it just yet. So some more time to be had here for Bitcoin. More time so we can get some more bars. Small account there. All right, guys, I'm getting rid of this for now. Yeah, so Google looks like a 2-hour pullback would be good. Now, Google on the 30-minute is something as well. Like 30-minute just crosses back up. That's pretty much what you're looking for a lot. It's like, are we going to get a more extended 2-hour pullback? Are we going to get a 30-minute cross up on the MACD? Haven't seen anything yet. Sometimes Zelle takes a minute. I'll let you know, though, in the next 20 minutes or so. As we start to close the stream, it should pop up by then if you donated. By the way, thank you for donating if you did. Really appreciate it. And thank you for making me update my Zelle, because that's one that I forgot about. I still have probably like 10 different things to update that card on. It's annoying. Yeah, my Zelle has no notifications on it just yet, but sometimes it takes like 10 minutes. We'll see. Oh, and Mark, was it your brother or someone emailed me, someone that's new to trading? Was that you? Was that you, Mark? I tried to answer the question the best I could, mainly asking about what platform should I use if I'm new. And my statement with that, if you are new looking for a platform, that's fine. But I think the more important thing is just being able to practice getting something that maybe has ease of entry first and things like that. That way you can start practicing a little bit, trying to make sure to do some good behavior. Did you do IWM? Yes, but we can look at it again. And mainly it's 30-minute has crossed up. So the only problem you have here is if IWM does do something like this and isn't able to fully go to that move, you could see that divergence point pop up again. So you want to be aware of that, but you should treat this as of right now as, hey, this looks pretty positive. That's what I would say. Now, for IWM, is it going to, with this little crossover, going to need more of a pullback than this? It could mean you're right about a pullback, but you just might have a little bit more time. Maybe it needs to get up to this level. Maybe it needs to get to that level for a reason. Maybe it needs to go up to here and then see this to get some sort of structure. Yeah, exactly. Paper trading is great, especially if you're really new to the market, you're in a volatile time or something like that. Paper trading's fantastic. And then what you want to do is take a small amount and actually do trades. That way you have that emotional side to it. Because trading with paper trading, you could be like, oh, this is so easy. Well, add your emotions into it when you have some skin in the game. This could be a handle right now too. Well, I'd probably like to go a little higher before that handle. All righty, folks. Uh-oh. Right as I say alrighty, some red coming in. Volatility up 4%. Dollar dropping even more. You see it dropping even more. That's kind of crazy. Gold's starting to see that bounce back. So if gold is able to curl up on the 30-minute, it could mean, ooh, not right now, but maybe in a little bit, right? In real life was rougher. Yeah, it can be, and that's just because it's like once you have skin in the game, it's a little bit different. When you don't have skin in the game, you're like, let me hold this to see how high it can go. When you have skin in the game, you're like, oh, I just made double my money. Are you gonna hold it to see how high it could go? Oh, I just lost a little bit. Because it's paper trading, I could just hold on to that, see if it turns around, it turns around, right? But in real life, you're like, oh, now I'm losing money, so am I gonna get out of this? It can really be a change when you add the emotional side to it. And thank you, Mark, for sending me something for my birthday. Haven't seen it yet, but we can always touch base later today. I'll let you know. We always hope things don't go to like a random account somewhere. That is the truth. I feel like we have a few accounts in here. Some of your guys' accounts are like, that is the truth. Happy birthday. Thank you, LuxDev. Really appreciate that. Wouldn't want to spend my morning of my birthday with any other people. So I'll be with you guys tomorrow, spending my morning with you guys. We might see a little bit of a lack in content for tomorrow. I'm going to still try to put out a YouTube video or go live at the end of the day. I'm still going to try to have some fun with you guys. Keep looking at some stocks because we could have some crazy market behavior. So I still want to be there for you guys, but one of them I'm going to drop because I want to spend time with family. And like I said, I have my haircut at like 6:30 at night. And man, this is 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks, I think, 2 weeks worth of growth right here. So you guys will get to see what I look like with a little over 2 weeks worth of not shaving. Mara at 1727, great move from Mara, and Mara gave you some good signals. Mara gave you some great signals, for real. This thing here, 2 hour, 30-minute, 2 hour signal there, confirmed, awesome, awesome setup. Now you can say, is the daily confirming? Yes, it is. So now it's like, okay, my trade down here has now turned into a daily swing trade if I want. I can see if that can go up high and then cross back down, and I can go, okay, now I'm out, right? We do that in the swing trading course. We teach you how to do that type of stuff. But the best part about Mara is this is the kind of an argument for why you want to take both. Like after you've done it for a while, you want to take both. And so what you want to see is like, okay, down, okay, now I'm going to use the technical indicators course to find a good price. And now it's like, okay, now I'm in the swing trade early. So if that holds by the end of the day. Trying to get him into trading, I think that's fantastic. And I would just say, how much time does he have? Should he learn more how to invest and things like that? And everything will still help him. But for the most part, I think he was asking what platform to use. And I was like, early on, I'm going to be honest, to me, early on, it's not really going to matter. You need to find your trading style, what you're trying to do. Are you trying to invest? Are you trying to trade? Are you trying to trade shorter time frames? What are you doing? And once you do that, you can start to look into other platforms. But ease of entry platforms are not horrible. They're bad if you've traded for a while. I'm sure a lot of people who have traded for a while don't like Robinhood. But if you're someone who's brand new to trading and you're just starting to learn, it's like Robinhood's very easy to get into early if you want to start to practice, right? So that's kind of what I said, but I said just, you know, get to practicing. That's the main thing. I should have mentioned paper trading actually, but paper trading is a fantastic way. Mark, if you could just send him a text real quick, being like, you know, maybe show him, get on Discord with him and show him how to paper trade for a second. That'd be cool. That's awesome, KTA. We love to hear that. Wait, did that doesn't say like 100,000 down to 1,200, right? It's behind my heart. I'm hoping that says $100. That'd be awesome. Hold on. I gotta see. $150. Oh, nice. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. And Sean, thank you so much. I see Sean taking that the using indicators course, the true technical analysis course that could really help you out with plays like Mara. And now it's just awesome because you're in the play here, and look at this, a swing trade signal is confirming here. So it's like both courses coming into in touch with each other, and I really like this look for sure. Now we just have to pay attention to what? Managing trades early on still. You're still pretty close to that center line. As it gets further and further away, if this would continue to get further and further away from that center line, it's like, okay, now you're more looking at take profit angle, not necessarily manage the trade. Take profit type angle. And you are heading up into an area where you could see a little blip, right? So if this 2 hour crosses down though, bad things can happen. So that's how I would treat this so far. But I'd also be looking at a 30-minute saying, hey, that looks pretty good. But if that crosses down, I might have to manage too, because we're in a sketchy time across the board here. AMC flipping down by 0.10%. Dollar still heading down. Look at that. Look at that thing. Oh my goodness, you're going to get rid of the 4 hour divergence at that point. God, are we going to see a bait and switch? I'm really interested to see what happens over the next few days. Like, I'm genuinely just interested. Like, I'm intrigued of what's happening. Yeah, I'll check again, Mark. Ooh, and Sharda, thank you for taking the swing trading course. Not seeing the email just yet. Spam for a second. Oh no. I think it's due to the yen. I'm not seeing your email at this moment, so just, you know, double check, make sure you're popping up, and it's lucas.s.hansen@gmail.com. Oh god, I can't type either. That's it right there, just so you're aware. Just double check it real quick, but that's it right there. DJT, let me pop over to that as you're, double checking this, but DJT, I like birthday presents, so. DJT, seeing some great upside now, so daily scale is starting to turn up. Right, daily scale is starting to turn up. We'll see if this can cross tomorrow, but that is a pretty good sign for DJT to confirm this divergence. We can always see 2-hour pullbacks and things like that. We'll see if we need to make a better divergence down here. We don't really have a good one. We have one on the MACD, still far away from the center line, but this is great for DJT, and we'll see what happens with that going forward. You think it's due to the yen? I see. Weirdly enough, the USD yen trade, if you go look at, I'd have to really go look some stuff up and pull it up, so I'm not going to do it towards the end of the stream. But if you really look at it, the correlation between what's been happening with the USD and the yen and what's happening in the market now does not hold water at this point. It means the SPY should actually be dropping. All right, let's see. Is this going to... Ooh, we're seeing a pretty negative bar there. And volatility is starting to pop a little bit. If we go over to this, once we get above that 1683, it's pretty good chance to go up towards 20. We'll just have to watch. I think this by like tomorrow, we'll really see if this can keep that strength, and then we see this pop up tomorrow. That's what I'll pay attention to as well. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, and any questions about the course, guys, you can always email me. I'll try to get back to it the most I can. I know I've been really, I'm so disappointed in myself for being bad at emailing back, honestly. No, not in promotion, not in socials, not in spam at this moment. Are you in any trade? I held my hedge from, so pretty much once the SPY started to hit this level, I started to really start to make a pretty good hedge for my trades. The one I took was NVIDIA. I got completely out of that at this level and started to accumulate a little hedge in here. And then towards these levels, I just added a tiny bit on that hedge in case it turns into a good trade. So I'd say I have a small position on volatility up in these levels at this moment. So you want to look back. I mean, what you want to look for are short squeezes. It depends on the environment you're in. If you notice back in this time, way back, these short squeezes ended up being very bad. But that was triggered by a lot of bad things over and over again. But these short squeezes did not lead to the bottom. Are we in this environment right now? Well, you'd have an argument here that we dropped below the 200. Did we overall drop below the 200? No, we were kind of holding up above it. Something you could more compare this time to could be this. And it just depends on what the signals look like going forward, right? So for the most part, this is completely different. Completely different, but you can see this short squeeze led to bullishness. Okay, so what you want to see is, are we going to form reversal signals in this short squeeze? That's it. Yeah, thousands of jobs suddenly went poof. So it's not what happens after a short squeeze. What happens after a short squeeze is you either consolidate and go extremely higher, or you can't hold up with it. You set up a higher low, you set up some kind of divergence to trap people in that short squeeze, and then you see that rip down, and then you still have to pay attention to the other way. We're never going to say that things happen exactly the same as last time every time, right? We're not going to say that on this channel. I would never say that on this channel. So what I want to do is more so, I want to just read into the signals and see, because I think a bad signal, sorry, I'm going to delete my email again, but the 2 hour, the signal that I'm looking for, if we're going to see this be a time where a short squeeze leads to bad things, I think you see a signal like this one right here. If that happens, then you have potential for some bad things. Now, if you do that, and maybe it goes like this, it goes like this, it goes like that, and maybe that crosses over and it crosses right back up, then you might see more good things, right? We have to pay attention to what's happening at all times. That's why trading like water is what I always say, right? Trading like water is a very, very good thing, because it won't convince you. Like, it'll say, oh, this is really bad, this could be really bad, and then you see it turn up and you go, oh, this is really good now, right? That's all you want to do. Flip your script a lot. As of right now, you look like pullback's the most likely scenario. Thank you, Zane, for joining the Patreon. Apparently, I'm returning something on Amazon. So now we're starting to see a little bit more weakness come in. Volatility is starting to pop a little bit. But if this 2 hour crosses down at any time, we're probably going to see more of a short squeeze. So it's just a time to pay attention. I think you're more likely to pull back and see a bigger pop from the volatility. Doesn't mean it has to. Oh, I'm popping. We're popping. We're popping. Dang, I have 100% on my battery for once. That's sick. Oh boy. Alrighty, this sucks because I kind of have to hop off right now. And I feel like this is kind of a key moment, but I do have to hop off. I have to go to the store and grab some stuff. So overall, guys, I will be back here 2 hours before the close. So make sure you're subscribed with those notifications on, okay? Trade like water. It looks like pullback is the most likely scenario, but we got to pay attention to those 30-minute charts and see if those things are going to rotate up. And I'm sorry, but I went a little longer than expected, so I might have to just turn off the stream right at the end here. But I just wanted to say, most likely we are going to reach a daily expected move at some point, right? We'll pay attention to it. It seems like some funky things happening with the data, so I will be back 2 hours before the close so we can see what happened before then. But a little bit more data can go a long, long way. So let's just pay attention. Overall, still a bullish move. We'll look out for bad things that can happen. We want to treat rollovers as, wow, this could be bad, but it doesn't mean I want to take a trade. Well, there's no real reversal signal in here, so this more likely could even just move sideways and then turn up over time. It could move down a little bit and turn up over time, so we're paying attention to it. Overall in this area, though, I think you're more likely to see maybe a bigger pullback, and then you see that start to head up over time. We'll pay attention, but I'll see you guys a little bit later on this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing. You guys are always great about that, and I really appreciate it. And Mark, I'll look out for that Zell to make sure, and I'll touch base with you later this afternoon. So thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Good luck on your trades. Make sure to trade like water, all right? I think the jobs data is bad, personally. That's just how I read it, right? We were bad unemployment. Unemployment was bad. It went up. And then you're talking about jobs data that was strong, quote unquote strong, and then that gets pulled down with the revision. So that's where I'm a little bit like, wouldn't that be bad news, right? Common sense, wouldn't that be bad news? So that's what I'm reading into. Thank you so much for the happy birthday wishes. I'll see you guys this afternoon, all right? Peace out, homies. I gotta remember to put this little sign up on the screen, because when that sign's up, it usually means I'm gone. I used to do that. Now I need to do that again, okay? So that's how you know if I'm here or not, pretty much.